The Nicole Sandler Show, weekday mornings at 10 on the South Florida Radio Network. This is the South Florida Radio Network.
Closing time.
Thanks for tuning in, man. Neil Rogers is next. Okay, dude. See you later, man.
See you, Joe.
Those are my donuts.
They're yours now. You touched them. That cootie.
Get out of my way, man.
Hiya, Pally.
I said out of my way.
No, Greg, there's a fight in the hallway. There's a fight in the hallway.
What's going on? Now all of you, cut that out. Doug, get DeCarlos in here.
Okay.
And by the way, something, Greg.
What is it, Mo?
How's it you pay Mr. Jingle Balls in reception more than anybody else here?
Well, who better to represent an all-gay sport hole station? And besides, she frightens me.
All right, everyone. Let's break this up right now, or I'll show you my balls.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm out of here.
See you tomorrow.
Oh, hey, where do you think you're going?
I'm doing a show today, Mo.
Oh, big man. You think you got tended to? You're a big shot now, huh? Well, you listen to me, my hostile Julio friend.
What do you want, Mo?
I'm sick and tired of you and your poofula pal put me in a penalistic stance. Oh, this with the pizza and the door. I can fight back, you know. I was a Barbara boxer. What's that?
It is a peace offering.
Ah, no, you don't. I just...
Put it in your lips and inhale.
Ooh. And another thing, I take umbrage to your scurrilous alligators about the pizza. I like pizza. Know what else I like?
How's that?
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. What a great name, huh? Gamecocks.
Yes, Mo. It's a good name. A very good name.
Gamecocks. Gamecocks. And it's sports related too, so that gives me license. So, hey, you want to rape me?
No.
You're the only one?
And I thought of Eagle.
Neil Yard.
WQAM, hello.
John?
WQAM, hello.
How do you know?
WQAM, hello. WQAM, hello.
John?
WQAM, hello. 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 You were saying?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, hi. I'm the gentleman that called about you shouldn't be messing with people's religion.
Right.
Let me tell you, these are fine lines you shouldn't be crossing, especially with Jesus Christ. You shouldn't be messing with people.
Wait. Let's slow down. Let's slow down. When you're making judgmental comments like you shouldn't be doing this, and who died and left you in charge?
Nobody left me in charge, but you know that you shouldn't be messing around with people's religion.
No, I don't know that.
With Jesus Christ.
No, I don't. Oh, especially Jesus. How about Moses?
With anybody who's dealing with people's religion.
How about Abraham?
How about respect their religion?
How about Joseph Smith?
And their beliefs. You shouldn't.
A lot of people died because of religion, like in Northern Ireland right now, and in England, right?
True.
And over in Pakistan and India, and over in the Middle East, right?
But then you think we should respect people's religion?
No, I don't.
Yes, well, you should.
No, I should not.
You should respect.
In other words, you're calling here to tell me what I should think. Is that what you're telling me?
Exactly.
Yes. Well, let me tell you what I think. I think you're full of crap. How do you like that?
Hey. You have your own opinion.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad at least in America. Well, let me ask you, where are you from?
I'm from America. I was born in New York.
Yeah, where were your parents born?
New York weekend.
Where were your parents born,
man,
sir?
If that's all you have to say.
No, I'm asking you. Are you touchy about that too? Are you? Oh, that's it. He hangs up. Okay, yeah, you're right. Puerto Rican. Okay, brainwashed.
Christian knows a game to play, and it's not so very hard to do. Hey,
Take their possessions away, the Bible says, and then you burn it down.
Okay.
You can get somebody to believe anything if you make the Bible say it's true. No matter what you do, you can be guilt-free, 'cause the Lord will always forgive you. Pick up a poisonous snake, the Bible says, wave it all around, the Bible says, find abortion clinics, the Bible says, and shoot a doctor down. Everybody pray along with me, okay? Come on, you young Republicans. Beat the crap out of your kids. The Bible says you're Deuteronomy bound. The Bible says go on a pilgrimage. The Bible says pass the Kool-Aid around. The Bible says fight off the chicken's eggs. The Bible says to make a sacrifice. The Bible says you got the hang of it now.
Let's be George for all that Bible stuff.
George.
What?
George.
Is that how you're screwing with me today?
George.
Oh, man. And I'm talking, I'm multitasking. I'm writing an email to Gary Bruce, a Facebook message, actually, to Gary Bruce.
I want that as my ringtone.
Like when I call
George.
you.
Exactly.
My ringtone for you. Sure. Email it along there, Boca Brian. I'm speaking of email, I'm talking and typing at the same time. I'm like Nicole Sandler. Speaking of Nicole Sandler, who's filling in for Randy Rhodes this week. She's filling in for Randy Rhodes because Randy Rhodes is down here. Well, actually in West Palm. And she'll be our first tribute guest. I'll be calling her in a few minutes after I, dispense with the minutia, I guess. This whole week, since Friday, I don't, it's all weird. I'm in uncharted waters over here. I've never really felt like this before. My voice is blown out because I went to the Sass Martini Lounge staff party last night. Very late. I didn't get there until like 10 o'clock because I was here till 9:30 sending people email.
You're moonlighting and stuff?
Yeah. No, I was invited to a party where the offer was, hey, free alcohol, open bar.
Ooh.
And people, Samantha, people I know, and of course I call Khalid so I can show up looking all studly. The pictures are on Facebook. Trying to have some fun here and there. Just 2 drinks, went home. Got home by midnight. I had 8.5 hours of sleep, and I'm tired. I'm on autopilot. I'm really mentally exhausted. Normally you get mentally exhausted over the course of the day. You do a lot of stuff if you have to do a lot of math or a lot of email. That's what does it for me. Yeah,
a lot of breathing.
Got to do a lot of ciphering. It it knocks your mental dick in the dirt, if you will. But then you wake up in the morning, you feel all refreshed, and I'm not. I'm really. This whole thing has been very mentally draining to me. It's very, very weird, because Neil dying is like my dad dying. And people, you like your dad dying? Well, let me reinforce that a little bit. My dad never did dick for me. All right, my dad wasn't around. I saw my dad, when I was 4. We left Cuba. He came to America. I spent 2 months with him in California. When I was 9 years old, that's the last time I saw my dad. From my dad, I received one of those little minimalist wallets. It actually got me stuck on those things. Those just little, like this, visual aids. Like the mini wallets, the kind of like little mini wallet that you find inside of a real wallet. Just a place for your driver's license in a pocket, not like a bill fold. I got a Texas Instruments digital watch, and I got a green squirt gun that looked like a broom handle Mauser. And a bus ticket once. I was stranded with my mom, and I needed to get away from her. I needed to get from North Carolina back to Montana.
When you press the button, does the red diodes pop up?
On the Texas Instruments, yeah, it's all dark, but you have to press the button, and then the little red, you're right, first generation digital watch. Very modern at the time. When I was 9 years old, 1970, whatever. That's it. I think a pack of, when I was staying there with him in California, a pack of colored pencils. And like I said, a bus ticket from North Carolina to Montana to get away from my mom. And that's it. That's that's all I got from my dad, as opposed to Neil, who I spent every work day, unless he was on vacation or I was, every work day for almost 20 years, talking about everything, learning everything about this business, from him or because of him. It's very, very different. He was, I had a father figure in my brother-in-law who taught me all the manly arts. My sister's husband. That's who when I went to Montana, that's who I lived with before I moved out on my own. And he taught me all the manly things, and I'm very grateful for that. And I'd like to, if I ever won the lottery and I snowbirded it, I would be dividing my time between here and there. And then while there in Montana/Oregon, I know that they're actually close to each other by country standards. I would like to, pay him back somehow, like by helping out in his old age. I don't want to change his diaper or anything, but I'll certainly do some fetching. If not for him, I wouldn't know how to shoot a gun or take one apart and clean it, sharpen a knife, gut a fish or bear or elk, start a fire with flint. All of those really handy things are very handy in the city over here. You never know when you might have to gut a bear and pull the entrails out and skin it. You never know.
Do it every day.
Everything could collapse right now. Well, we do a lot of fishing down here. I know how to clean a fish because of him. But as far as he taught me all those manly.
Didn't you people ever learn to go to the store?
Well, it's cheaper that way, and it's also fun. There's a reward at the end. He taught me how to drive a car. He taught me how to swim.
Life skills.
Exactly. But as far as my professional skills, I already had how to work a radio control board and things like that down, but how to be a talk show host, how to produce talk shows, how to interact with an audience, how to make a good call out of a bad call. And that's not to say that I'm anywhere near as good as Neil was at it, but then Neil wasn't as good when he was 46 either as he was when he was 66. Neil just kept getting better, all the way up to the end. So who knows how good I'll be eventually. Probably not, because nobody was ever as good as Neil before, and probably nobody will ever be as good as Neil afterwards doing this particular kind of thing. It's just my sincerest hope that I can be, as good as I can be in my own right. It's all very different. We do a very different kind of show. There was no way that I would be able to emulate what Neil did in that particular style. That was all his. I had no desire to copy it, no ability to copy it. I was just going. That was one of the lessons that I learned from Neil. Is just be real. Be as Neil would channel whatever part of himself, but that was genuine. It wasn't an act. He just allowed himself to be the way that he thought he ought to be on the air. He just let it go. And so I learned that lesson from Neil. So yeah, this has been like, professional father figure dying, and it's very funky and it's very wild, and it's not like there isn't enough going on during this holiday season. I think the last of the Christmas presents were delivered today. Some things showed up late. You know how that is. That happens with everybody.
You have until Three Kings.
Christmas. Oh, because I'm a spick. My mom still played that shit.
It'd be Larry King, Alan King.
Yeah. Benny King.
Benny King.
Yeah.
Three Kings.
I'm getting emails from people speaking of Larry King. Hey, how come you don't have Larry King on? Because I don't have any contact information for Larry King. Likewise, I don't have any contact information for Howard David. If you people are out there listening, I would like some contact information for Howard David.
Oh, yes, you do.
I don't. I really don't.
Why, sure you do.
I do?
All you have to do is put out the word, see?
Yeah. No, well, that would be, I think that would be very funny, is to have Howard David on and Mo Howard David on at the same time. Did we ever accomplish that, Boca Brian?
We were going to. We never got around to it.
Well, now I think it's a good time to have Howard David and Mo Howard David on the air at the same time. I don't have any contact. I heard he was on Westwood One last time I looked, and I went there for their contact information, and all the numbers and emails go to, like, a sales department. They don't want to be bothered unless you want to buy something from them.
You know what I'd like to get on is Geldy.
Yeah.
And have him visited by Mo Howard David.
Okay. That would be
I don't think he'd mind either.
Or something.
The real Geldy.
The real Geldy. No, we could, yeah, absolutely. Sure. And Jeff DeForest might be calling in today. We've got some people besides Randy who I'm going to be calling momentarily. Terry Griffin. I had a text back and forth with Pharrell. I don't know if he's going to be, that was yesterday and today is today, and Pharrell is a day-by-day kind of guy.
Yeah.
what he said and what he planned on doing today, as of yesterday, Pharrell is subject to change without notice.
It all depends on what happened the night before.
Exactly. And since my voice is already blown out, maybe I'll just pretend to be Pharrell if I can't get him to call in. Speaking of people that I need contact information for, who I thought I had contact information for, Marvin Rahman, ladies and gentlemen, Neil's producer before me. Ultimately, the reason that I got the job. So if anybody has contact information for Marvin Rahman, Howard David, and Larry King. And I'm getting emails from people, hey, have you had Larry King on? And I'm also getting emails from people suggesting that we talk to people that we've already spoken to. Might I suggest that you listen to the show and then send me an email?
They're so helpful.
And catch up. I know.
Yeah, but I'd like to have him on again.
Who? Larry King?
Any of them. Craig?
They're all
Phil,
welcome.
Craig,
Phil, Craig,
yeah.
They're all welcome to call back, because I know we had Phil on before Neil passed. Call back and re-reflect and do some other things. I'm going to keep doing this until I don't feel like it anymore. That's how long I'm going to be doing this thing that we're doing here, until I don't feel like it anymore. And booking guests is a full-time job, and if that's all you did, it would be a full-time job. And that's all I've been doing lately, somehow still trying to negotiate what's going on, with the family, trying to keep up all my family duties. Got a nice Facebook message from Byron Eggers, who's listening in. Yo, Byron, saying that he really appreciates what we're doing, and he called me a real man for making sure that Christmas went off as planned for the kids, because that's a priority. And Neil would agree with that, because Neil was very down on death. Life is for the living, is what Neil always said. He didn't go to funerals, didn't go to his mom's funeral, would not want anybody breaking a sweat over him and his death. Well, too bad, Neil, because you're dead and you can't bitch at me for doing this. He bitched at me for doing that tribute during his anniversary, getting Larry King to call in. It was one of the few times that he actually got angry with me, at least seemingly so. He had an angry face on. He said angry things in an angry way. So I feel that he was sincere. He didn't like people making a fuss over him, and he probably wouldn't like us making a fuss over him now. Well, too bad, Neil, because life is for the living and this is for us. And we're going to vent our spleen, and we're going to get it out of our system because we're sad, and we're going to share. It's going to be like a 2-week, maybe a month-long funeral, eulogy, whatever it is. We're going to do this, until we all get it out of our system. Speaking of that, ready for Randy? Should call her up. It was really nice hearing her voice. We just spoke very briefly. Radio people, we're saving it for the air.
Hello.
Randy, George.
Yeah.
Randy.
Hi.
How are you?
Yes.
Welcome to our humble little show over here. And once again, I was just saying it was really great hearing your voice. On the phone as opposed to on the radio, which periodically.
I've been dying to talk to you. What do you say?
Exactly. We've been trying to. We talk for a living, and we're having trouble finding words. Let me set you up a little bit, and then you can take it from there for the people that a lot of the people that are listening right now go all the way back, way before me. They go all the way back to the beginning, KAT, a lot of the people listening. But that's not everybody, so not everybody knows, all about the IOD days and what a big part of it you were. And everything, and every time they write an article about Neil or you, it's always said that Neil was a big part of shaping the kind of show that you do. And,
he was everything. You know that.
So
you remember when I came in there in my stupid floral dress and my big giant 80s glasses and
I had no
curly
problem.
hair. I had no freaking clue what I was doing. I had no idea. I just come from right? And I quit because I wanted to do talk radio, and so I took a job at the Coast so that I could be in the building.
Let me stop you there. Why did you want to do talk radio? Because I backed into I took talk radio job out of desperation because I couldn't get on the music. I was very naive. I didn't know that talk radio was where it was at. Why did you want to?
Because I was a giggle girl. That's what I was. I was the sidekick for every bad crummy DJ that ever walked the face of the earth, and all I could do was like morning shows, which meant I'm getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm writing all the material, and I'm handing it over to this freak, who's telling anti-gay jokes and devil jokes. I mean, and fart jokes. I was like, you gotta be kidding me! You gotta be kidding me! And all I could do was giggle and do the news, And I just thought, no. So I realized if I didn't do talk radio, and have my own shot at it, that I was never, ever going to be anything but somebody else's sidekick, and they were making 80 times what I was making, And so I just decided if I didn't quit rock radio, which I loved, I mean, I really loved it, then no one would take me seriously. So I did, and I became a secretary and went back to school to learn a little bit about politics, just a little, because I didn't know crap. I mean, I didn't know how a bill became a law. I didn't know anything.
You never watched what is it?
Bill.
Schoolhouse Rock? Yeah, that's what that was the extent of our
but I didn't even know Schoolhouse Rock. I mean, my parents, pretty much put me in my room all the time. I was so bad, and turned out the lights and said, "Come out when you're a fungus," So I really didn't know anything. So anyway, I loved IOD. I mean, I used to listen to it all the time, and so I thought, okay, what do I do? How do I get there? There's no way. And the only girls, remember the girls that we had on there?
Oh yeah.
We had Meg Green on Money.
I know.
I mean, Meg Green on Money.
Sure.
And there was this other girl, Randy Wright or something.
I don't remember.
And she sucked. She was so bad. And like and then you had psychology shows, and stuff like that. Joy Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about your sex life. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I guess Hank Goldberg had gone into Boy Gary's office and told Boy Gary to go F himself one afternoon.
That's right.
And Gary, and I knew if I was in the building, like if I could just become a known human, that, maybe one day that something would happen where somebody
Which is how it's done in show business. You just kind of hang out and hope that somebody sees you and that, and that you get
you're like an understudy kind of a thing, but you just let it be known that, you would try or you knew the words, whatever. So, sure as shit. Are we on?
Oh, yeah, no, you can say shit as much as you
can say anything you like.
Yeah, fuck the FCC radio here. That's
Hank walked in his office
cool.
and
Okay, so sure as shit. Hank goes in there, has a knockout tryout with Boy Gary, and Gary says, Hank tells him to go fuck himself, and he says, go fuck yourself.
By the way,
so
just to be exact, because it was an issue over Hank was doing too much sports and had a sports guest, and Gary told him to unbook the guest, and Hank said, it's my show, and Gary said, well, I'm the program director, and Hank said, well, fuck you, and Gary said, well, fire you. I see your fuck you, and I'll raise you a you're fired. And that's because and all of a sudden there's a vacancy in the evening.
Yeah, well, there wasn't. That was the thing. So they weren't sure whether or not he meant his "I'll raise you and you're fired." They didn't know what they were going to do. So he calls me at my secretarial job and says, "Can you come in tonight?" And I said, "To do what?" He said, "To do a show."
Right.
I was like, "To do a show," and I mean, the blood drained from my face. I was like, "Oh my God!" I mean, I wanted it, but I didn't mean it.
Sure.
I didn't mean I could actually do anything. So. I said, sure, yeah, okay. So I go in, I call Jimmy.
You gotta say yes. Neil said, I think you ought to do the show when I take my next vacation. I shat myself. But, of course, you have to say yes. That's what you're there for. That's what
right. And then the moment comes, and you're like...
You're never ready for it. Hey, you're up. Get on stage and entertain all those people. What? Right.
It's the weirdest feeling in the world. Because you're sitting in the chair, and there's nothing. I mean, there's absolutely, literally nothing. And then you have to make something.
That's
you don't know what the hell you're going to make, and you have no ingredients. You have nothing. You only have yourself.
Right on, sister.
So I called Jimmy. Jimmy was my husband. In fact, I just saw Jimmy. Jimmy and I are great friends, but I called Jimmy up, and Jimmy goes, "I'll produce the show." Now, Jimmy was a security guard at Wackenhut. I mean, they were paying him $3.35 an hour, but they told him if he carried a gun, they'd give him $5. And I think we all know how I feel about guns.
Yeah.
So I said, "Do you bring that thing into my house? You're never getting laid again." So we put it over the refrigerator, you know, that cabinet no one can reach?
That's right.
That's where we stuck the gun. So Jimmy's a security guard at Wacken Up, but he's going to produce the big show.
That's right.
Okay.
This is how great shows
and
are
I'm
made.
a secretary, but I'm going to be a talk show host now.
That's right.
So I go in to do the show that night. And Defoe's on the air and all that. And they look at this bitch in this floral dress with the freaky frizzy hair. Who is this girl, you know? And I'm like, well, I'm your relief. I'm going to do the next show. Like, oh, you got to be kidding. Right. So I get on the air, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but all of a sudden, I don't know, George, like something clicks. It's like you get like this rush of adrenaline because you're so scared, and it becomes you on steroids. I mean, you're still you, but your mind
it's
just
out of body. You have an out. It's all of a sudden you're on autopilot. It's out of body.
It is.
It's beyond your
It's crazy. I mean, what happens to you is just so you can't explain it unless somebody's ever been scared out of their mind and then actually conquered it, like skiing, getting off the lift or something,
bungee
and
jumping.
phasing down.
I did bungee jumping was the closest thing. I was like, I thought I was going to faint, but I had to do it, or people were going to call me.
I did too. I thought I was going to pass out.
Right.
I actually thought I was going to pass out in the first segment.
Yeah.
Anyway, I get on the air, and I know that Neil has trashed everybody who tried to fill in.
That's right.
I mean, everybody. Right. And so I'm like, oh, God, what do I do? And I know I can't talk about him because that's death.
It'll make it worse.
And, yeah, it's death. So I talked to him. I just said, oh, come on, Neil. You know I'm exactly what you want, what we need here. I'm smart, I'm funny, I'm young, blah, blah, and this and that. You know, I'm smart. And all of a sudden I see hotline, and Jimmy's going crazy in your chair. He's sitting in your chair. And he's going, answer it. And I'm like, no, answer it. So I answer the phone. I mean, I can see my finger actually going to that line. I remember this moment like it was yesterday. And I hear Neil on the phone, and he goes, you know, I think you're exactly what we need. You're like a crazy bitch, and you sound like a biker chick on Prozac, and, you know, I think you're a fucking goddess. That's what he says. Yeah. So we go to break, and we turn, you know, we had it on tape, and we turned the tape around, bleeped it, and played You're a Fucking Goddess. All night. No. Actually, that was the second night. First night, I don't know what the hell I did. And then Neil came in on Tuesday. That's what happened. I did Monday night, and Tuesday, Neil comes in. He says, "Well, I didn't listen to her. What does that stupid bitch sound like?" And he opens up the phone lines, and I mean, people were brutal. You know, they said, "Oh, she sounds like a biker chick on Prozac," and blah blah. And they said to Neil, "What does she look like?" He says, "Well, you know, I think she looks like a burnt out Stevie Nicks." Or Susan Day on Prozac, something like. Either the burnt out Stevie Nicks or Susan Day on, you know, Partridge Family bitch. She looks like that. And so they said, "Well, you didn't listen to her?" And he goes, "No, but you can bet I'll have my rear to the radio tonight," right? And so that's when I got on Tuesday night. I talked to him. He calls me up and he says, "I think you're a fucking goddess." So we turned the tape around and we bleeped it. By Wednesday, he was screaming at Boy Gary, "Give this girl a job. Hire this girl. And the only reason, like, if people hate me in talk radio, you can blame Neil, because the only reason why I'm working is because he said so.
Right. Ditto.
That's the only reason why I got a job.
Right.
And they made me audition the whole freaking week. I auditioned Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. By Friday, I had sweated off. This is how scared I was. 11 pounds.
No shit.
I lost 11 pounds that first week. I was terrified. And I was working 2 jobs. I was doing the secretary thing and then going at night down to IOD. And then Friday afternoon at 4:30, Boy Gary calls my office and says, "All right, we're going to give you a job and pay $42,000 a year." I'm like, what? But I was making nothing, so that was like, wow, $42,000 a year. Then I found out what Neil made. Then I found out what Rick and Suds made. You see, I was insulted when I found out what Rick Riley made.
I know. I'm still insulted when I find out what Rick Riley made.
I couldn't believe it. Rick Riley made... See, we were all on non-disclosure agreements, but I can tell you now, he made $325,000 a year, and I'm making 40. And I'm making 42.
Yeah. Guess what? He carved the deal. He also, you know, he screwed Suds. He made sure that he made all the money, and Suds was just happy to be there, you know.
Yeah, Suds was making like $65,000, and Rick was taking $325,000. Like the show was probably budgeted at, you know, $450 or something. And he took all the money.
I know.
And whatever happened to him?
With Rick Riley?
He's doing a knitting show with his wife.
You're not going to believe this. You're going to think that we make this up. And that's one of the things, because I don't know how much, I don't have to make shit up because my life is so bizarre. And the things, as you know, the things that happen in this industry are so bizarre that you don't have to make up thing one. He's doing a knitting show with his wife called Knitwits, and it's a podcast. Ta-da! Yeah. Digest that. Try to wrap yourself around that. How the mighty have fallen, because you just gone on.
I'll give him my mother's number. She could finally be a guest on someone's show.
Oh my God! So he's quite literally standing there with his hands holding the yarn around his hands while his wife knits.
Way.
Literally.
And what happened to Suds?
Suds is on with me every other week. He's semi-retired. I got the online thing, the online radio station. Nicole Sandler, who fills in for you. She's my lead-in from 10 to 12. She's part of our network over here. And Suds is here like every other Wednesday. It's the Spick and Suds Show. I call it. We have our own logo and show open. We do a special edition called the Spick and Suds Show because Suds and I have always been friends. Suds is like the Buddha. Suds is like Peter Sellers and Bean there. He's
Suds is one of the nicest, greatest people you'll ever know.
Jesus, he can walk on water. Right. Bullets would veer away.
He's still driving that same Toyota. What did he have?
He had a Miata. No, the Miata gave up the Ghost, and now he's driving something sensible.
But he still has the Miata.
Yeah, he's trying to get rid of it.
Oh, my God.
But Suds is still, he how he never ages. When you found out, Suds was 2 or 3 years younger than Neil. When I found that out, I almost fell off the chair. That's what not having kids.
Suds is like Buddha. That's a good way to put it. He's an amazing Zen dude.
I've never heard a negative word out of his mouth. I've never seen a frown on his face. And we've always been friends. We never lost touch with each other. And when I started doing this, I invited him to be on the show as often as he wanted to be. And so every other week, so as not to wear it out. He's very humble. He comes on the show and we tear it up. It's the Spick and Suds Show. It's one of my favorite things.
Oh, that's so great. I'm so glad that you two, because he was of all the people there. He was you, Suds. I remember when Anna Marie wrote her little tribute to me.
Yes. Yes. Well, I'm trying to get a hold of her. She's off in L.A. and her phone's disconnected or something. I want to get her on. Really? But we got I'm in touch with a lot of people from the old gang. Adam Kirshner.
Adam, yeah.
He sold his soul. He's not just a right winger, but he's proud to be right wing, and he posts shit. He's a teabagger. He wears tea bags around his neck.
He's a Jew. What's wrong with him?
It breaks my heart. You broke my heart, Adam. You broke my heart. And here's a guy, we went to North Carolina together. I saved both of our lives when he passed out on the road. We bonded. We went, we were so, tight. In those days, all of us, we were like family. And he drank the Kool-Aid, and he's gone, man. His soul, he sold it. He works for Clear Channel now. He loves it.
What does he do?
He's their digital program director.
Oh, for God's sake. I work for them. I work for Premier, too. I work for them, too. I'm the only liberal, the only one. And I think they did it because they needed to say that they're fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're the token? Well, we'll take it.
Yeah, I'm a token.
We'll take it. At least there's you. Let me tell you something, Randy.
Randy, I don't know how you fought through with your career. You fought through the right-wing take.
By the way. It's so easy to sell out. I mean, but this is another thing that George knows it too from Neil. If you try to be something you're not, everyone knows it. Right. Everybody knows it. Sure. And, the money is definitely in the right-wing crap. There's no question about it. The money was being an uber patriot by wearing a Chinese lapel pin, flag pin. The money was in, questioning other people's patriotism and being all pushed out. And I mean, that's where the money is. I could have been a multi-millionaire many times over if I would have played the game, but I can't do it. I can't.
The soul fetches a handsome price when you sell it.
Apparently, it is in this world. But can I tell you something? This is serious. So this is really, really amazing. Okay, so Christmas Day, we go to Jimmy's house. Jimmy moved way up to Jupiter. He lives on a big farm. He's got a horse and 5 birds and 9 dogs and a beautiful English girlfriend who used to sing backup for The Cure. And I'm dating a great guy. I mean, I've been with Howard and we all get along. That's the crazy part. All 4 of us are really close. So we go up to Jimmy. They came here for Thanksgiving, so I go up there for Christmas Day, and we're sitting around. And, it was kind of cool outside, but not yet. It hadn't really gotten cold yet. And we're sitting around, and we have the windows open, and we all pour a glass of wine, and we're just getting ready to eat. And, we start talking about, Neil, and we had just found out that Neil passed the night before, Friday. And so we said, let's raise a glass to Neil, because if it wasn't for him, none of this would have been possible, none of our lives would have been possible. And so we start telling little stories about Neil and what we remember, and, we start singing That's Just Great Radio, and all of a sudden we clink our glasses, and this wind, this ice-cold wind, just blows through, and all the candles start flickering, and then it stops. We clink, and then it stops. And I went, oh, my God. Now, I know he's an atheist, and I know, he was, devoutly atheist, but he knew something, because I'm telling you, that was him. And he was probably going, you still look like a bird, Stevie.
I gotta tell you, Randy, because I remember, obviously I was there and, sitting across from Neil, and the calls were coming in and everything. And then, of course, I ran the board for you on, more times than I can count filling in. Jim was the producer, but I had to, we all had to fill in for each other.
Jimmy only produced it for a little while. Remember, he made that video. Then he started getting into the video thing. And he made Goddess of the Nighttime Volume 1, as if there was going to be a Volume 2.
I have that. I have that video. I have the Rick and Suds video.
You do? I have that.
Totally
you have to copy that for me. I don't have that.
I'll dig it up somewhere. It's in a box. And me with my mullet. My super mullet in those days, if you recall.
I'll do it for her. I'll send her off a copy.
You have a copy, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, really?
We need to digitize it and post it. Oh, man, because we all look ridiculous. It was before your nose job. Ooh, snap.
Yes.
We all look
ridiculous. That's all I ever talked about was I wanted a nose job. I wanted a stinking house with a pool. And then I wanted a stinking Lexus. And then I wanted to take a nose job.
Well, because I got to tell you, I'm going to tell you what I was saying, what I've been saying on the show and behind your back, just so you know, because the show that you did in those days, because I'm a believer, I'm very torn about the kind of radio to do, because there are so many important things, especially right now and recently in the Bush era, et cetera, and so on. I enjoyed doing the kind of fun show that Neil would do and that you would do in those days. And this is what I would say about Randy. I went for the longest time saying I liked Randy better when she was blowing queefs into the microphone. And I would say that, because I didn't like political talk, because to me it was like preaching to the choir. I don't need anyone telling me things that I already know. And then the Bush thing happened and all of this and what's going on right now. And I got to give you so much credit. You went and you got your political science degree. You did your research. You did your homework. You worked really hard to turn yourself into the expert that you are now. And I watch the Ed Schultz, and I watch Dylan Radigan, and I watch Olbermann, and I watch Rachel Maddow, and nobody can hold a candle to the amount of research and the points that you make, the point to the point, everything that when you say things, and I avoid listening because it gets me angry. It's like, because I yell at the radio, why don't people know this? The wrong people are listening to you. The people that agree with you aren't the people that ought to be listening. All those other assholes, all those teabaggers should be forced to listen to what you have to say, because you can't argue. You can't argue with the shit that you're laying out there. It's so obvious, and it just makes you go, ah! But so
Clockwork Orange, we ought to just make them sit there and all their ears open. Well, what's interesting? I like doing the entertainment better too. I mean, it's just much more fun and freeing.
Sure.
But things got so bad. I saw things just getting so freaking bad, and people losing their houses and all. But just one thing, I never got my degree. I quit school as soon as I got the job at IOD. I went to Broward County Community College for not even a year. So I didn't even finish the whole year. I didn't get a degree. No. Rachel has a doctorate degree, okay?
Still.
And, I worked with her at Air America, and, I showed her how to prep a show. I showed her how to lay out all these different stories and find the connective tissue and see how they all made sense. And, what's really creepy is those people, even when we were in New York, not one time. I was booked on MSNBC once because Ron Reagan is a really good guy, and he had a show there, and he loved me, and he booked me. But no one on MSNBC will book me. If you ever notice, I don't do any of their shows. They hate me.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know, but they treat me like shit. What really pisses me off is, Rachel was just a little kid. She was my age when, we were all in New York, and you know, she was doing nothing, and I showed her everything, and now she just, you know, ignores me. I don't know what the deal is with MSNBC, but they're real cult-like and cliquey, and all the old Air America people, it's really weird, all the non-radio people, because I'm the only one that ever did radio at Air America. Everybody else was like Al Franken, and Rachel was a PhD, and Sam Cedar was an actor, and, you know, all these people, Janine Garofalo is a comedian. She's a great girl, by the way. She is a great, wonderful, she's like the Suds of the crowd. I mean, she never has anything bad to say about anybody. She's just a wonderful, and she cares so much. And her father is a devout Texas conservative. And I've seen Janine cry, arguing. Her father's name is Carmine Garofalo. And I've seen her cry. You know, just debating with her father on the air, and her father just, I mean, they're immovable forces, these teabag people. But anyway, she's a great girl. But the rest of them were so nasty to me because I knew what I was doing, you know, and they didn't. And so the only one that ever asked me for any help was Rachel, so I helped her, you know, and I showed her everything, you know, that I knew how to do, just, you know, the way Neil did, you know, you just sit here and, you know, just listen and whatever, and here's how I prep.
It's always,
what it looks like.
in show business, it's always been very fraternal. Like I worked for 10 years at QM, which was a sports fraternity, which, by the way, I was not invited to join, and nor am I qualified, and it was very hostile. I was only there because I was Neil's producer, and they openly hated me. The general manager would have insult George contests. He would actually call spontaneous meetings and award cash prizes to who could rip me the best. I'm not lying. I don't make shit up. I don't have to make anything up, Randy. My life is so bizarre. I have to hold back. I have to run everything through a filter. God forbid I could destroy lives, including my own. My life is so freaky. We got to get together off the air, and I'll fill you in, and I'll raise your eyebrows so high you'll never need a facelift again in your life. You won't believe the shit since we last saw each other that I have been through, the adventures and just things happening. And by the way, I got a MySpace message. Oh, sorry, MySpace. What? What's that? Facebook from Adam saying, "I broke your heart? ? Sorry, man. I'm still the same guy, and I stand left on most issues. I'm not a teabagger. Please don't associate me with them. Most of them are loonies. I'm square in the center. Both sides of the fringe are nuts. For every birther, there's a truther. Can't we still be friends? Love the show. Still listening. Haven't suffered. We keep it up," says Adam. Come back, Adam. Come back.
Adam,
power to the people.
You're out of bliss. For God's sake, we're liberals.
Nazi Jew, it's an oxymoron. It shouldn't be. Come back over here. Power to the people. The wealthy people suck. They want to control all our lives. You're not one of the...
It's true.
You're not going to be one of the 1%.
This is seriously, this is the greatest redistribution of wealth in the history of the world.
We're the biggest third world nation. The top 1% make more than the 24% the population. No South American country can touch us now.
It's true.
We're a banana republic.
They turned us into Chile.
Yeah.
They did. They turned us into Chile. It's Friedmanomics. It's just, this is really, we watched the biggest bank heist in the history of the universe.
Trickle down doesn't work. Trickle down doesn't work, Adam. Trickle down doesn't work. Give the money to the people.
Never mind, trickle down doesn't work. The banks, George Bush, bought the banks. He literally nationalized the banks. Tell him to go watch Wall Street 2. Wall Street 2.
Adam,
it's a nice, simple, easy way for him to understand what the hell happened.
Right on.
By the way, Nicole's doing a phenomenal job.
I masturbate to the Nicole Sandler show. I crank out batches listening to Nicole Sandler while I'm doing a show prep over here. I have to put Visqueen on my computer screen while I'm listening to Nicole Sandler. She's great.
Why is that?
Because she's like a mini you. She says all the right things, and and it's just like point by point. It's just a great show that she does. Her own little 2-hour show.
She's my only fill-in. I mean, she's the only one I trust with my show.
She's worthy.
I love that girl, but she's the only one. I've tried to give people breaks and give them all different chances because the show's national, and it's on in New York and LA and blah blah. And people get on there and they do that thing. They trash me, and I just sit there and I go, my God, I mean, are people? They've learned nothing. Right. And it was like day one when I learned you don't trash the guy that brought you. You know what I mean?
Right. That's why the bird got fired ultimately. Is he would spend Neil's vacation not just trashing but allowing the listeners to.
Speaking of the
Dave called in. Dave was on Monday with us, and he's great. Oh, so great to hear his voice. He's got the richest.
Dave is my board up.
I know.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's like the family's still together, but just in different places.
It's so weird. I'm sitting in D.C. and I see Dave on a webcam, which is not a good substitute for being there. And he's in L.A. And he's in L.A. You know, and it's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing.
That is wild. But that's, you know, everything's winding up over here, and everything's webcamming and streaming, and everything's going to wind up online, which is great because the FCC doesn't control us. We're championing freedom of speech over here on our little enterprise. And you know,
you know what? The only cool thing, the coolest thing I should say, but because it's still on public airwaves, you know, I can't curse. But when I went to premiere, I didn't want to be on the, you know, XM, you know, wanted to show too, XM and Sirius. So I said, well, I don't want to be on that left station. I'm so sick of. I mean, it's pretty Nazi. You know, this is why they have an argument, because they'll say, oh, well, you know, you believe in format purity too. Oh, everything's liberal from morning till night on your station. So I said to them, you know, I don't want to be part of that. I want to mix it up. So I'm on the same XM as I'm on 167 with Glenn Beck.
Wow. Ew.
Yeah. But it's cool in that I'm not preaching to the choir that way. I get his listeners, and they're all messed up. And when they come to me, I kind of, you know, I had to learn patience. But when they come to me, I can kind of, you know, straighten them out. And for like 5 minutes, they get it, and then they go, you know, revert to type.
The nuttiest of the nuts, man.
They'll listen for another issue that they can, you know, say, well, you were wrong on that or whatever, and I'll straighten them out. You know.
It's WBZD does the same thing, has the same kind of programming. Yeah. And then your show comes on.
And then your show comes on, which is great. And by the way, Randy Rhodes, 3 to 6 WBZT, and the reason that I chose 12 to 3 to do the live show over here when we started doing this thing is so that I wouldn't be on at the same time as you.
Oh, really?
For real. True.
Well,
no,
you know what, George? If you ever want to fill in for me, I always go to Nicole. I always go to Nicole, but if you ever want to fill in for me, you just, you know, let me know.
I'll tell you what, I'll be happy to, but I do mostly entertainment and you know, and shtick.
That's fine.
Yeah?
It's absolutely good. Look, the first hour of my show is mostly entertainment, unless something really tragic happens.
I'm going to faint.
But the first hour I try and make just, you know, fun
I'll do my
stuff,
religion stuff. I'll do my
but when I open the phones, people take it where they want to take it, and the show's always been like that. I will let the callers drive the show for a while, you know, and then I'll take it back.
I'm having a heart attack. I would love to, but only when Nicole can't do it. How's that?
Yeah, that's fair because
if she can't do it, then I'll be Plan C. How's that?
And I'll supply the depends.
Yeah, I'm gonna need like a lot. The big box, please.
I got poise pads. I'm getting so old. I sit there and laugh and I pee at the same time. I don't know which end to put where.
I haven't been so honored since Neil insisted that I fill in for him. Told me that I had to fill in for him. So thank you.
Well, let me tell you, I just, you know, everything that I think we ever learned about manners, how to treat people, how to do a radio show, of course, that it's just a radio show. I think that was the most important thing. And, you know, to find out that he really lived it like that. Yeah, I remember when we first had to go out, my very first time I had to go out and sign autographs, okay? It was at a Dolphin tailgate party. Joe Robbie was still Joe Robbie Stadium. And I was scared to death that nobody would want my autograph. And they put us at different tables. You know, it was like this big long table under a tent. And they had Neil at one table. They had Rick and Suds at another table. And then they had me. And I was so scared nobody would come because I'd been on the air maybe 2 weeks. And Neil said, get your ass over here, honey. And sat me down next to him so that when people would come, you know, the line was for him, you know, they would just I might as well get yours too, you know. Wow. But he was that's the kind of guy he was off the air. And, you know, people that don't know him think he's just, you know, he was this cranky, you know, I'll rip you an ass and you're boiling my butt. And, he was the nicest. I remember when I first walked out of there and took the job in West Palm because they wouldn't pay me. And West Palm offered me $100,000 a year. And Bob Green would not give me a raise. I know you talked to him. Bob Green would not give me a freaking raise. So
I said, you know, our program director.
I'll call him back.
You know who does the best, Bob Green? You know Phil Hendry?
Yeah, well, he called last week. We had him on for a half hour.
I love Phil. I've done Phil's show, and it pisses people off because Phil's a wild right-winger.
Yeah, what happened to these people? Oh, Jazz McKay. We talked to Jazz McKay on Monday. He sends his regards.
You know what? I don't care what his politics are. That guy is the funniest guy. I mean, he's one of the great talents of the universe, and I love Phil. So anyway, Bob wouldn't give me a raise, so my sister, as you know, died, and at that time she was sick. She had breast cancer, and we knew it was, getting down to the wire, and so I knew I had to make money. I had to raise a kid. I had to raise Jessica, who's now 25, George.
Get out.
25.
My daughter's 22, and I have an 8-year-old, just in case you want to keep
Your daughter's 22?
Yeah, and I have another one who's 8. And she loves me. We're best friends. We sit on the couch and hug. She's going to change my diapers when I'm old. I pulled it off. One down, one more to go.
God.
I have a surprise. Hey, do you remember Guitar Man? They used to call up and do things like that. He says he has a song for you. You're on with his Guitar Man. No, I'm ringing his phone. There he is. This is going to sound like hell, I just know.
Am I here?
You're here. You're on with Randy. Come on, it better be good.
Hey, Guitar Man, what are you doing?
Sally Fitz. When them goddamn...
What? What happened now?
I don't know. He got disconnected.
He's there. That's you. That's your wire. Your microphone came disconnected, Adam. Adam Arnold. That's not me. That's him.
Start him again.
Well, that's him. No, I'm just going to have to... Hey, I'm going to hang up on you, Austin. I'm going to hang up on your ass. We'll make it up. You just listen to the archive later or keep listening live. You know how to listen to us, right?
I'll log on and listen.
Absolutely.
I've got it here.
Oh, that version of it. Well, don't play it yet. I don't want to interrupt this really momentous...
Oh, my God, Sally Fitz.
When your battery's
when she's taking a shit.
She took that very, very seriously. She screeched at Neil once in the parking lot. I don't know if you heard that story.
No.
I can't go anywhere without people trying to hand me a battery.
Think about all the people that were around. Sally Fitz. Think about Rick Sanchez.
I know.
I mean, Rick Sanchez from WSBN. Then
I'm so glad he was fired. It's how cracks me up.
He gets freaking fired for being
I watch The Daily Show as often as possible, obviously, and Jon Stewart likes to rip his ass, and I laugh. All of us South Floridians, we laugh on a whole other level when Jon Stewart rips Rick Sanchez.
To my audience, who he was.
You people have no idea. You just discovered this guy. He's been embarrassing us as a Cuban. He's been embarrassing me. My whole life.
Am I here?
Yeah?
Hello?
Okay, I didn't know. I was playing and I stopped playing and...
you were playing and you disconnected yourself. Try it now.
Well, how much did you hear of it for crying out loud?
Sally Fitz.
Just heard, the intro.
Sally Fitz, and then you tripped over that wire. Try it again.
Well, it's all spontaneous. You go, Sally Fitz, when those back...
And there he goes again.
He's trying very hard.
I know. It's not going to work. We'll get you... You'll play it all by yourself as soon as you get your equipment straightened out there.
Way off the oxy, dude. What is he doing?
It sounds like his old show.
He's barely lucid. Yeah, it does. It sounds like his old show.
I'm not doing anything over here. Hello? Are you back now? I give up. I'm hanging up on your ass. We can't take this anymore.
People got iPhones and Skype and chat and online shows, and he can't manage a phone call.
Professional radio show over here. Very
got
quality.
a great future, this one.
We'll make it up. We'll come back from our long block and put you on, and maybe it's a bandwidth thing. I don't know. All this new technology. It keeps
the phone. The phone.
Well, Randy, I can't tell you how much fun this has been. Reconnecting and everything. And don't be a stranger.
George, it's the end of an era,
Yeah. But the start of a new one.
That's true too. It's a whole brand new year. It's like, he knew exactly when to die, by the way. There was no estate tax this year.
Oh man. Good point. I like to think that, we'd like to carry on. Everything that Neil taught us, he touched so many of us, not just the people that worked with him.
All right, let's try this again.
But the audience. Really, we're going to try this again? One more try.
He's back.
Man. We interrupt this sign off.
Erstwhile Guitar Man.
A song from Guitar Man. Hit it.
What happens? What's going on?
You're tripping over your wire, man. You start singing and then you trip over a wire and disappear.
No, I'm not tripping over any wires. Sally Fitz. Hear it now?
Yeah.
When her batteries quit, Rick and Suds When they're pulling their putts, Randy Rhodes.
That's her.
Won't let me giz on her nose. Well, glad you hear me now.
You went through all that trouble for that?
Keep going.
Management, they're all bent on just fucking up the show. You couldn't get a raise and you got down and blew them, I know. They don't even know how to go. So when Neil gets the bitchin', it's just what we were wishing for. And so, as we close off the show, give a hand to that gigantic man, Uncle Neil. And I'm sure we all feel that Neil is a god. Tipping wad of just great
Very good. Wow, what a way to kick off the first hour of our Tribute Wednesday over here. Guitar Man, thank you very much. Randy, I'm going to talk to Nicole. I'm going to let her train me, and maybe I'll be her sidekick when she fills in for you.
Anytime, Joe. You know what? You have all my numbers now, and we are totally in touch. So don't let any more time go by, okay?
Absolutely.
We all need each other now.
Yes, we
really do.
Yes, we do. Love you, Randy.
Randy, I'll send you a DVD of that video. And just one thing, though. Should I leave in the part where the camera pans back and you see Chuck Myers short pants, or do you want me to keep that in?
Absolutely.
You know, I just remember editing the Neil parts and just looking at his face and just cracking up. But I don't know what it is about this guy. He just makes you laugh.
Yeah.
That's just great. Anyway, thank you for thinking of me.
You bet, Randy.
Me in this.
You're a hero to a lot of us. Keep up the good work.
You are too, George. You've always been like a top-notch guy. Really.
Thanks. All right. We'll be in touch.
I love you guys.
Love you too, Randy. All right, the goddess, and that's according to Neil, so no arguments. We can't argue with that. Neil said she's a goddess, so therefore, ipso facto, domino forbiscum, she's a goddess. Randy Rhodes, who's doing God's work. You know, listen to her show, WBZT. Is that it, Boca Brian? 3 to 6?
Yes.
Although this week, Nicole Sandler, our very own SoFloRadio's own Nicole Sandler, is filling in for her. That felt really good. You know, I talked to you this morning. You heard how I sounded this morning.
Yes.
Talk about picking my spirits up. That was great.
That brings back in your step now.
Yeah, put some lead in my pencil. Not the first time that Randy's put some lead in my pencil. Thank you very much. I'm going to go wipe tears away now. 3 till 1 on all tear-jerking radio, SoFloRadio.com.
Longer, firmer, and fully packed with flavor. SoFloRadio.com.
Hello.
Randy, I don't hate you at all. Congratulations.
Get out of here, Meg.
You want to know something? Truthfully, I'm happy for you.
Why are you happy for me?
Because I am going to my boat. We're going out for a cruise. I'm having for the 4.5 years my first weekends off. I'm promoting my video, not a radio show.
I figured it was some kind of promotion thing.
No, not at all. I'm just saying that I welcome you to the station. Honest to God, I do.
Really?
Trust me, I'm not lying.
All right.
I called to congratulate you.
Well, Meg, can I just ask you one lousy question then?
Sure.
Why on your last show did you say I didn't have a chance in hell of doing anything over here at WIOD?
You know what? I made a mistake. I made a bad call.
Damn right.
I've been listening to you, and I think you're fun, and I think it's perfectly okay to relax and have fun on a weekend. Honest to God. I needed to.
Yeah.
How's that? And I'm enjoying listening to you, and it's no bull. Now, have a good day.
See ya. Don't believe a word of it, man. She sat here and trashed me for a whole afternoon. A whole afternoon. Sat here and said I didn't have a chance in hell. I had no talent. What the hell was I doing here? Boy, Gary made a big mistake. Now she wants to promote something at our tailgate party, so she's going to kiss a little butt.
Sally fits when her batteries quit. Rick and Suds, when they're pulling their cuts, Joey blows. That most everyone knows. That's just great radio. Larry King with that bald spot thing. And there's Jim. We know what Neil thinks of him. Randy Rhodes, when she speaks of her nose. That's just great radio. Management, they're all bent on just running the show. But they're just a bag of rancid douchebags, I know. They don't even know when to go. So when Neil gets to bitchin', it's just what we're wishing for. And so, as
we all hear the show, make a call. And if you have the call, talk to Neil. And I'm sure you will feel that Neil is a god, a big dripping wad of just great radio.
SoFloRadio.com. We really do know what we're doing.
When you're ready to actually lose weight safely and steadily while being monitored by a physician, the Weight Loss Clinic of Dr. Kim Jacobson is there for you. The family medicine practice was established by her father in 1956 and continues as a medical practice that now specializes in weight reduction. Dr. Kim Jacobson joined the practice 20 years ago as both a family medicine practitioner and weight loss specialist. The Weight Loss Clinic utilizes a combination of appetite suppression medication and vitamins to produce great results, usually 3 to 4 pounds per week for most patients. Now you can change your lifestyle while still enjoying your own food, just less of it. They offer a choice of 2, 3, or 4-week plans. So whether you just need to lose a few pounds or a lot, the Weight Loss Clinic of Dr. Kim Jacobson can help you. They're located at 5454 Northeast 4th Avenue in Miami, just 2 blocks west of 54th Street and Biscayne Boulevard. Call them at 305-751-0091. They'll be happy to answer any and all of your questions. That's 305-751-0091. Get started on a beautiful new body today with Dr. Kim Jacobson and the Weight Loss Clinic.
Hi, this is the much-loved and revered Boca Brian. My new disc is called Boca Twist Party. You'll get all the songs that were banned after 2005. You'll get... And you'll get... But wait, you'll get... It's my 14-inch long, super hard morning piss boner. Yeah, and you'll get this too.
You know you make me wanna pull my pants down and...
Invest in your future now. These CDs will be worth a fortune after I'm dead and buried in the Oh Yeah, That Guy mausoleum.
A victim of a debilitating career disease known as Florida. Won't you help?
Boca Brian's latest release, Boca Twist Party, is available now on SoFloRadio.com.
SoFloRadio.com. Give us a call at 954-99-00036. Mobile users call 954-990-0036. And for those of you living in the past, call Butterfield 990-0036. Skype name SoFlo Radio.
Randy.
What?
Hello, Randy.
What?
Are you listening to me?
No.
And I travel on the road. And I have a lot of instruments, just like Sally. What a load. Every day a new routine, another song, and then early in the morning I mail Neil a bit again. But when I get that writer's block, the words refuse to flow. I take a trip to Hallandale, where life is really slow. I drive into the Publix, and I find some parking room. And the Yentas and the Kretches turn and holler, Cock-a-moon. Shake hands with your Uncle Max, my boy, and here's your sister Cheryl. And you remember Isabel, that's Irving's oldest girl. And you remember the Tishman twins, Gerald and Jerome. We've all come here to greet you and to wish you welcome home. Meet Merowitz, Barowitz, Handelman, Shandelman, Sperber and Gerber and Steiner and Stone, Moskowitz, Lubowitz, Aronson, Berenson, Pryman and Feynman and Friedman and Poe, Swallowitz, Wallowitz, Teitelbaum, Levin, Levinsky, Levine and Levine, Brumberger, Schlumberger, Minkus and Pinkus and Stein with a E, Einstein with a Y. Now here's your Uncle Sal, my boy, with all the family poop. And here's your cousin Randy with her goddamn chicken soup. Whenever you're on the road, my boy, come back and see us soon. For we'll all be here when you come back to wish you
Broward!
Wow, 104, SoFloRadio.com. That was really heartwarming. more heartwarming than the soup. I just went into the kitchen to scarf. I got a cold as of Friday, and may be related to the Neil thing or not, and that might have been what knocked my constitution in the dirt. But it's a for real cold, and as I've already explained to the audience, I was sick Saturday and Sunday. That's why I had time to respond to a lot of people's emails. I'm still trying to stay on top of it, by the way. If you've written some emails, unless you have emailed me asking for something, I'm doing my best to answer all of those emails. The emails from people asking for something like, "Hey, can I get a copy of the?" No. Well, no, I don't have time to respond. No, because then that generates. I've already been through this years as Neil's producer, and the interface between him, the public, and the other departments in the radio station. Already got. And
to the listeners who have emailed me requests, I'm still working on it. It's not easy. Right. I got 4 that I cannot find. I'm still working on it.
Yeah, so. And if, I'm sorry, let me try that. What are the 4 that you can't find, and maybe somebody in the audience has those?
Nobody ripped you. Believe it or not, the one I did. Nobody rips you.
Okay.
Tastes like a penny. Which you might have.
By the way, our old friend Adam Kirshner is the one that requested that Nobody Rips You Better. We're looking for you, Adam. Yeah, teabagger.
Oh, he requested it? Like I said, we'll be playing that about 10 years from now.
Goose-stepping teabagger. What?
And the, what is it, the convenience store. I can't find that one.
It's under Language Lab. And I know that
Lab.
Yeah, it's one of the Language Labs. I know we got the one with the pies. It's a Language Lab presents how to speak convenience store manager or something. May I be to helping you, please? And that's it. I don't know what area code 615 is. Tennessee or something? Because somebody's been calling all during those long things. You'll have to be. I hope everybody understands the format.
Rick,
really? Because we were going to save the Rick call for when Suds was here on Monday. Suds is coming in on Monday, by the way.
Okay.
He's over on the something or other coast. We'll find out who this is. Hello?
Hello?
Who's this?
I know who this is, but you got to hang on. I'm on another call.
Oh, okay. I'll hang on. I think it was Rick. Right. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. What a momentous, memorable thing.
To be put on hold?
To be put on hold? No, to be talking to Rick. These are people that we haven't spoken to, and by we, I mean me, Brian, and the audience hasn't heard their voice in a lot of years, of course, if it's Rick, unless you're listening to that knitting show. I wonder how long he's going to make me wait now.
Well, maybe he's in the middle of knitting. He may be making a potholder or something.
Well, it's cold up there. He's probably making something like a hat or a hoodie. I had a friend in North Carolina. He was gay, and he knitted. Not that one goes with the other. Just saying. It's just a matter of fact. And he would, for his male friends, knit little package cozies that were shaped like, a penis and nut sack.
Cute.
Cozy things.
Cute.
Yeah. Right, with a cincher, so you could put your package in there and cinch it up.
I guess they were close friends. He knew exactly which size.
The guys he liked, and don't think that it didn't skeeve everybody out. Like, dude, oh come on, he had a sense of humor. He was one of twins, as a matter of fact. It's funny because his brother, his identical twin brother, was the opposite. They were opposite twins, mirror twins they call them, when they're complete opposites. His brother, it was Jeff and Joe. Jeff was the gay one. And Joe,
should I save this for Rick when he does call?
Yeah, load stuff up. I don't know how long he's going to leave me on hold. I should probably hang up on him.
Don't drive in that left-hand lane, man. If they catch you,
Suds has a little plywood pal now.
Huh?
Suds has a little plywood pal. Somebody made a little life-size thing of him out of plywood.
Does he know what
and he drives around with it in the diamond lane.
All right, I'm going to... Hello?
Yeah.
Let me get to work. Thanks.
Did he go take a shower or something?
I mean, there's hold, and then there's holding pattern, and then there's orbiting the airport waiting to come on. Well, call me back, whoever that was.
I'm Tom Hopkins for South Florida's News, Traffic, and Weather Station. News Talk Radio 610, WIOD. News Talk Radio 610, WIOD presents Rick and Suds. Now, here's Rick and Suds on News Talk Radio 610, WIOD.
You want to let this go until he calls?
No, I hung up on him already. Hello, SoFloRadio.
Hey, George, it's Terry Griffin.
Hi, Terry Griffin. How are you?
Hey, hi.
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for calling. By invitation.
Yeah, I just heard Randy on.
Yeah, good. That means you're doing it right. How you been, Terry? For those who don't know, Terry, part of the prestigious WIOD news department. That's when radio stations had a news department, and ours was second to none. We had a phenomenal news department, and Terry Griffin was a big part of it. And I'm not just talking about your booze. And of course, Rick Riley's calling back now. Well, now you're going to have to wait, assuming that it is Rick Riley.
I can call back.
Put him on hold.
I got all the time in the world.
No way. No, he put me on hold.
Well,
It's your turn.
I'm working at a pseudo news department anyway.
See what he did to me?
All the time in the world.
So how you doing, Terry? How you been? Where you at now? I know I know where you are, but tell the audience. It sounds better when you say it.
I am at WIOD in Miami and working here for a little while longer. Actually, next Wednesday is my last day. I'll be leaving the South Florida market.
Really?
And yes, I will. And I just can't afford to stay in the business anymore.
WIOD. Oh, I hate that station.
I hate that station.
What? So you're not going to stay in radio at all then?
No, well, actually, I'm going to be working at a station out in Carson City, Nevada.
Wow.
It's a Shell station, is what it is.
You know, prostitution is legal, by the way.
You think I'm kidding? I'm serious.
Really? That's my shtick.
It's true. I do have when I finally land out there, I do have a job, thank God, at my niece's station out there in Carson City, right across from the Capitol, and I'll be meeting and greeting people and having a good time. And in the meantime, certainly looking for something that I might be able to do as far as news. But you know how the news business is anymore. It's so hard to find, and anything that is news is usually 24 hours old, or it's voice tracked or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to come by.
I know.
So,
you got to go be one of the hubs because everything's networked out and stand in line for one of those kinds of jobs. So obviously the reason that we're all gathered here today and for the week is to pay homage to Neil, who I know you were a big fan and knew him personally. So it's your chance to share and reflect.
I'll tell you, when I heard that, of course, you and I have been texting back and forth, and when I heard that when Neil was sick, I texted you and I said, oh gosh, I didn't realize that he was going to have surgery, and so we texted back and forth, and that's before I knew what hospital he was in, and stupid me, I'm thinking, okay, let me go buy and give him a card, and I won't even come upstairs or anything like that. I'll just leave it at the front desk. And sure enough, he wasn't under Neil Rogers, nor was he under his off-air name either.
No, they had to do that. Apparently, people were showing up. Stalkers were and invaders were showing up. Yeah.
Of course, and I can certainly understand that. So, and then we find out that Neil had decided to go into hospice, and such a sad thing because I remember when I first started at WIOD, I guess you could consider me the grunt of the newsroom. And he and Mike Ranieri were so good to me. They treated me so well. Chuck Meyer, of course, hired me, so I think he's tough. And but I was treated so well by Ranieri and by Neil. And I remember you asked me to call into Neil's show when Mike Ranieri passed away. And here's something that was so quick about Neil, is that I said, yeah, Neil, it's sad that Mike Ranieri passed away. I said, boy, oh boy, I'll tell you, Neil, that man treated me like a queen. And sure enough, he comes right back and he says, yeah, you treated me like a queen too.
Oh.
It's so funny. Here we are laughing about poor Mike passing, but that's the way we dealt with grief, because we'd have these laughs about things in the past, and of course that's what you're doing now, laughing about things that happened and little anecdotes, and certainly trying to remember Neil and all the fun times we had. And the thing about Neil was also that I guess a lot of people were a little standoffish at Neil because maybe they were a little scared of him or something like that.
I was at first, sure.
Were you? Yeah, were you?
Oh, terrified.
Were you? Yeah. Oh, you little shit. You were terrified of him.
I was. Gary Bruce had to threaten my job. I kept making excuses to not work with Neil when they needed someone to fill in for Marvin. I kept, I'm busy today, or blah, blah, blah. I would make shit up to not go in there and work with Neil. I knew that he was going to rip me and embarrass me and say something about me on the air, and I was going to cry, and and I was terrified of that happening, and so I avoided it until Gary had to hold a gun to my head.
Yeah. Well, it was the best decision you ever made, and
to not get fired, I decided to keep my job. That was the decision.
There you go.
I had a child. I had a newborn.
That's right, and you. And soon after that, I came in. You were firmly entrenched in that position when I came in 1991, and really, I took Neil as being off the air just a shy person, but when he got behind the microphone, all hell broke loose, and just a different persona, and off the air, such a teddy bear to me, and
he genuinely liked you. I'm not, one of the things I'm doing here is, now that he's dead and can't be embarrassed, I'm telling everybody, who he liked and who he genuinely didn't like, and he genuinely liked you. He always had really nice things to say about you, never a bad thing to say, not about you personally or any of the newscasts. He liked you a lot.
Well, thank you. That makes me feel really good. But also, he demanded perfection, and there were times I'd be really nervous. I didn't care, what Gary Bruce thought. I was more concerned about what Neil thought of my newscast than anything else. And so when I'd go on the air, I'd say, okay, I better be at the top of my game, and hopefully I was most of the time. And that's the way I felt about Neil. I wanted to do as well as I could for him, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I did the 10 when he came on, the 10, 11, and the noon newscast. So if I remember correctly, and so that was I took a lot of pride in that, and also felt very, very fortunate that I was able to be put in that position. And when Hurricane Andrew hit, we did mop up. Of course, Chuck Meyer and crew, they were in from Saturday night until early Monday morning.
Right.
And I came in around 7 in the morning, dodging all kinds of debris and stuff like that. And I think we had one telephone line that was working, and Neil came in because Mike Ranieri was stuck in Kendall. He couldn't get out.
Right.
And Neil came in, and of course, Neil being very entertaining and everything, but when you're in a situation, like crisis situation, Neil turned on this other talent that was just amazing, to where, hell with Brian Norcross. Neil knew exactly what he was doing, and I was feeding him information, so I was doing top and bottom, and he was on the air most of the afternoon, and people, as information was trickling in, he was giving out that information, just off the cuff, and knew exactly what he was talking about. It was amazing to watch him do what he did in that capacity as well.
Right. Those were serious times. I mean, he always knew when it was time, like during 9/11, when it was time to put the shtick lock aside and take care of business, and that was huge. And I was really happy to be part of a radio station, because there's nothing like that in this community right now. If the same thing should happen again, where will people tune? There isn't an interactive news station down here. Our audience doubled during the aftermath of Hurricane Andrew, because we were the interactive station with news, and the all news station got nothing. There would have been nobody to call over there to report gouging, or they're distributing Visqueen over here, or this is where the water is, or anything. And we filled that conference room with volunteers, mostly people's husbands and wives and family members, family of the people that worked on the staff, answering the phones and running up and down the hall with little pieces of paper with up-to-date information. It was great.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. And it was a 24-hour operation. And
it was.
And he worked exhaustively.
Food, like snack food, piled up in the corner of the studios, canned goods and stuff, because nobody was leaving. We were all taking baths in the sink like it was like we were homeless people at the bus depot.
Yeah, it was starting to get a little gamey there, I'll tell you.
Oh, I love it, man. With the all-female news staff, that wasn't so bad sometimes. It wasn't the all-female news staff then, because it was Chuck Meyer. Jennifer Rem activated that later on. I think you were a part of that.
Yes, I was. I was actually hired by Chuck, and then Tom Hopkins came in, and I did double duty. I was co-host on Coast with David K. Jones, and then I did the 10, 11, and 12. So I was working on Coast as well as WIOD, so I did double duty, and so that's how that went. And that's some good. That's some management actually treated you well, and it was really refreshing.
Relatively speaking.
You poorly. Relatively speaking, you thought it wasn't as great, but then as time went on, you said, boy, oh boy, those were the salad days.
Yeah. It was true. I mean, I wasn't making any money, but at least, I worked at the place, at least management cared about winning there. It was a long, I haven't worked in a place since where ratings mattered as much as it did to the management there. They really cared, and they rewarded us by leaving us alone to a certain extent when we were achieving the high numbers. That they had a hands-off approach that I wish. Well, not since now. Haven't enjoyed since now. That's totally hands-off. There are no hands. They're mine. Mine are the hands.
Yeah.
So. They let you surf on beanbags.
Yeah, they did. They let us jump on beanbag chairs.
That's true. Yeah, but see, you are the innovator now, and this is the way that radio is going. Is what you are doing right now. And I'm not blowing smoke up your butt to say that either.
But you could if you wanted to. I'll let you do that. I have a hose that you can borrow.
Might feel pretty good.
Camera.
Yeah, really. Oh my God, like the Grand Canyon.
I hit on Terry Griffin only continuously for years, and it didn't work. I just want that to be known.
I gotta tell George, I've been secretly in love with you for a long time.
Really?
I just didn't act upon.
Well, maybe we can do some since we have each other's phone number. We can do some sexting with each other.
Oh, maybe we could. Yeah, maybe we should. I have some pictures in front of me that I took the last day, when the split happened, when IOD was sold. And I have some pictures in front of me that I have to get scanned and sent to you. And I have a picture of you standing in the hallway at WIOD in that cavernous hallway where all the there were all kinds of cabinets and things like that because we didn't have any storage or anything like that. And there you are, and you're looking great. I have a picture of Sonny Hirsch in the sports closet.
Right.
And there's also
sports closet.
The sports it was
a freaking broom closet at production studio the size of a phone booth, but that was the sports department.
That was, and it was such an integral part of the whole operation. And here it is, this thing that was by 5 feet by 5 feet. It was amazing. And I don't know if you remember the last day before the split, but there was a fellow who worked with us, Rick Alpern, and he was in
Rick's
sales.
one of my Facebook friends, by the way. He's listening in on the shows and commenting periodically. He's enjoying what we're doing.
That's great.
Shout out.
I should play the Rick Alpo song.
Listening right now.
The Alpo song. There you go. Okay.
But go on with the story.
And I was driving in to do the morning show on Coast, and you recall the marquee as you come in because we were right next to Channel 7. We shared a parking lot with Channel 7. That's why we unfortunately had to run into Rick Sanchez.
Yeah.
Oh, did I say that?
It's a good thing he didn't run into us. Oh!
Really? Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's why we
that could be dangerous.
And so I drive in. I make the left-hand turn. Here's the marquee. And Rick Alpern had put on the marquee because Bud Paxson had bought WIOD. And it said, Bud, Jesus loves you. Everyone else thinks you're an idiot.
I remember
True story.
No.
This is right on 79.
I know. I know. I
was ran into a car and laughing so hard. I think by about noon it had to be taken down. Yeah. We had a lot of laughs about that.
I forgot about that, but you're right. Now, who did that? By the way,
it was Rick Alpern.
Oh, Rick Alpern! We gotta go, Rick.
And he had done it through dark of night.
I take back everything I said about Rick Alpern.
Well, it was just a riot. We had a lot of fun with that. And I've got pictures of the control room with Rick and Suds and the cart racks and everything, and a young Adam Kirshner and Tom Hopkins and of course Handsome You and
with my mullet.
Handsome You. You didn't want to do the show today.
I didn't. I was so depressed. I woke up so not just depressed, but like when I see the commercials for the symptoms of depression, where I just had no energy, no physical energy, no mental energy. I just wanted to stay in bed. I was just so sad. I just wanted to stay in bed with the covers over my head this morning. Oh, I feel so much better now. This is, I needed this today.
I'm glad. I'm glad because we have to remember the really good times because we had we were in such a fortunate position.
We were really lucky. That didn't happen. That hadn't happened anywhere. That didn't happen anywhere, not before or since.
No, it has. You're right.
That collective, that number of people there. I mean, it was like like a platoon that goes through war together or something. We were part of something really special and unique. And, and I realized that in the middle of it. I actually knew that because, I would travel coast to coast by bus back and forth in my teenage years and listen to the radio stations in every market that I passed through. And I had never heard anything like what we accomplished, what we had going on over there. It was controlled chaos. It was madness that worked.
Very well put. It was controlled chaos, and there was you were. I guess you would consider us adrenaline junkies.
Sure.
Because we were on all the time because we had so much to do, and it was
pride.
Snappy
and that's another thing that I haven't seen since leaving there. I mean, I worked at QM, which was a sports fraternity, where the only thing that they care about is the smell of Famunda cheese. That's the only. They don't care about the quality of the product. They care about the smell of athlete taint. Really, that's the beginning and the end of their agenda over there. Is did you see the game and what did you think and how did it smell?
And that taint good.
But at IOD and yes, you teabagging Adam. We had pride. We would help each other and we would compliment each other. And if somebody cut a good promo, we would be all like, "Dude, that was tight. That was a good promo. How'd you get that down to 30?" Professional pride and admiration for what we were all doing. And management didn't have to make that happen or hold a gun to our head. They just had to allow it to happen.
Right. And we had so much fun with the news because we could be creative and we could use our creative juices to do a really good script and be able to deliver it as well as we could. And you were talking, I believe, about the news teases that we were able to do. And Chuck Meyer really gave us carte blanche on that, and Tom Hopkins continued that. And that's where we had an awful lot of funny stuff that we were able to grab the audience and say, okay, please listen to this. And we certainly pushed the envelope there and had some really good ones. I think Jennifer Rim more than anybody had some riotous ones.
She had that down. Every newscast had a good. For a while it was just routine. I would just take the tease from every newscast and make a card out of it. It was just automatic.
I know, and I had some. I had fun with some of mine too, and it was. But I think she had that down better than anybody.
You heard we had her on. She was already on. She already did the tribute show.
Oh, that's Jennifer. Wonderful. That's great.
Listen back.
So Rick Riley's going to be on pretty soon.
I guess I don't know. I was going to try to get him on Monday. I think that's Rick Riley. I don't know. There's a lot of people on the list. I was up late emailing, Facebook messaging, and calling people trying to line them up today. It's going good so far. I don't know where it's going to go from here. So we'll see. Well, it's very unscripted.
Yeah, well, that's the only way to be. And I did speak with Tifo this morning. I gave him all your information, so he should be calling in soon, or I'll give him a what for. But he said he was interested, and he's got a lot to say, I'm sure, about Neil and his experience with Neil. And
no question.
I am certainly missing that man and missing our time together very, very much so. And I feel very privileged that you allowed me to come on your program, and privileged to.
I think I insisted. Well, thank you, Terry. It's always a pleasure. Don't be a stranger. I know you won't be.
Thank you, Terry.
Don't forget to scan those pictures. And, you can take a couple of new pictures, fresh pictures. Part of that thing that we're talking about doing there. I'm totally serious about that. I've got some unrequited fantasies I'm trying to work through.
Yeah, there you go. Same here, and I certainly did that from out west, and I'll just hop on a plane anytime you want.
Where you'll be safe.
I'll be safe.
Okay, Terry. Great talking to you. Love you.
Love you all.
Okay. Bye-bye, Terry Griffin, ladies and gentlemen, part of the the dream team.
Wow.
I don't know what to call it. Hearing from everybody, this is all making me feel way better. Way better. And the soup, too. And I don't know if that was Rick. It sounded like Rick, didn't it? I'm just presuming that it was.
Yeah, that was him. If he wants to call back, we've got a very nice intro if we time it right. Just let me know on the thing.
Totally want to talk to you, Rick. And then we got, by the way, KJ's supposed to be showing up at the studio later on around 2 today. And I got a call. I left a message for Al Rantel. Alan Michaels was kind enough to give me the number. And I already mentioned Pharrell and a whole bunch of other people. Need some contact information for Larry King and Marvin Rahman. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll have the fake Larry King and Howard David for what it's worth. And if we can't get the real Larry King and the real Howard David, then we'll just have Boca Brian doing their voices. 129 on All Neil Tribute Radio, SoFloRadio.com.
More listeners than any sports station anywhere. SoFloRadio.com.
They don't know how to sell this show, 'cause Rick Alpern is a big sales host. They don't know, mainly 'cause of Rick Alpern. He don't care what the sponsors they say. He only knows how to do things his way. He's a sales host, talking about that Rick Alpern. I should have known that sooner or later he would turn out to be a dictator. Now the talent and the sponsors are screaming, what an asshole, 'cause he don't know how to service accounts because he loves to boss the people around. He's a sales host, talking about that Rick Alpern. Talking about that Rick Alpern. He don't know that big sales host. He don't know that big sales host. He don't care what people they say. Sing, 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 I sing, I sing, I sing, I shut up. Everybody, sit down, everybody, shut up.
We have such sights to show you.
SoFloRadio.com.
Adventures in time and space, transcribed in future tense. The powwow.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1.
Disorder never sounded so good.
From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future. Adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine presents
The Powwow, weekends at 12, only on SoFloRadio.com.
Buy the best custom full-color balloons with your photo, logo, or design that will blow your next party or event away with PhotoBalloonStore.com. Take a look for yourself and see why PhotoBalloonStore.com is the place for full-color, custom-printed photo balloons. Our balloons are not made out of rubber, latex, or mylar. They're made from a durable aluminum foil composite film that keeps them inflated longer than any other balloon sold. 11 inches in diameter, uninflated, 9.5 inches inflated. These balloons can be reinflated over and over again. Cheer on your Miami Heat basketball team at home or the arena with our version of the Miami Heat Dream Team balloon. These limited edition memorabilia balloons are available for only $6.95 for a limited time. Visit PhotoBalloonStore.com for more. Order yours today. We deliver on time and fast. PhotoBalloonStore.com.
SoFloRadio.com. Give us a call at 954-99-00036. Skype name SoFlo Radio. Mobile users call 954-99-00036.
WQAM is proud to bring you the WQAM School of Broadcasting. Yes, you too can have an illustrious career in the wonderful world of radio if you follow our curriculum. The course is free. Of course, you'll work for free. Call 1-800-WANNABE and speak to our Director of Education, Mr. Lenny Martez.
So, you want me a broadcaster?
A what?
A broadcaster.
Yeah.
So, broadcaster. Well, can you say news? News.
Yes.
No, it's not news, it's news.
News.
I'll take you on a tour. You need help. Here, we have The Joe Rose beginner's course.
Oui. Repeat after me, man. Oui. Wait. It's good. Wait.
And over here we have the effective delivery road.
We know what you need. Just give us a call. All you gotta do is call us right now. Repeat after me.
And over here we have the Hank Goldberg division.
And open your books to page 14. Repeat after me. And, no, that's what I want you to repeat. Go ahead. Okay.
And over in this room is Goldie 101.
Yes, it's the wonderful world of radio. Radio, where you can hear your own voice. Let the WQAM School of Broadcasting provide you with the essential tools you'll need to make your wet radio dreams come true. I mean, one come true.
I would love to know what goes on inside that house with his cheerleading wife reading. I don't know if they're reading the newspaper or the scriptures, one or the other. Rick Riley. So I wonder what Rick is doing at the dining room table as we speak right now.
Why is everybody picking on me? Just lighten up, man.
There is some heavy-duty crap going on inside of that house. I think we could make a soap opera. It would make Chester Riley pale into insignificance.
I never said that anyway.
Yes, you did.
Did I? Well, if I did, I forgot.
Rick Riley is like some kind of a psychotic axe murderer in that house in his underwear and his newspaper. That's not bad enough. Rick Riley. Oh, yeah! Rick is discussing that right around the dining room table right now with his lovely cheerleading wife.
Why is everybody picking on me? Just lighten up, man.
Oh, yeah!
I'm Tom Hopkins for South Florida's News, Traffic, and Weather Station. News Talk Radio 610, WIOD.
News Talk Radio 610, WIOD presents Rick and Suds. Now, here's Rick and Suds on News Talk Radio 610, WIOD.
Lady reporter from TV Mondo interviewed a girl the other day. Said from behind the girl's ex-husband walked up. He pulled a gun and blew the girl away. And she said,
WIOD, WSUN. I'm letting a phone ring in Norfolk, Virginia.
What?
Where I called just a moment ago, and Sergeant Richardson said, well, we're all going to be gone at 5 o'clock.
Really?
Yeah, he
says, just shut the place down, huh?
We dropped this place like a bad habit.
Wow.
And, well, he said, listen, we're expecting 13 inches of snow up here.
Oh, really?
He said, NBC is calling for 13 inches of snow. And the way they've been acting, they just might be right outside with a snowblower. See, that's kind of like one of those incendiary devices. So I was hoping to talk to this guy. He had a pretty good sense of humor.
Good one.
And it says thousands of corpses are littering America's highways. And it says they're a health hazard, and they're very unsightly, the Norfolk police official said.
I think it's pronounced
And the
Norfolk.
unfortunate people who find them are often traumatized for life.
Did you say Norfolk or Norfolk?
He said Norfolk the first time, didn't you, Rick?
South Florida's next guest. Neil's in the tribute to Neil. Hello.
Rick Riley, ladies and gentlemen. The one, the
Hello,
only.
Rick.
How are you?
Well, hi.
Hi. I was gonna ambush
Great show, Suds.
when Suds is when Suds was here, but you know Suds he orbits like a comet, an irregular comet, he's
irregular is the word.
I'm gonna try to be here on Monday. Welcome to the Neil Tribute Show, and how you been, man? Nice talking to you.
Well, I'm fine. I saw a video of you guys. Somebody sent me a video of you guys, and it was the first time I've seen. I've known Suds longer than anybody in my life.
Okay.
And it was the first time I've seen him without a mustache.
It's actually still there. It's just, he kept cropping it closer, so now it's just very mustache-esque. It's barely there. It's subtle. It's very subtle. You got to get right up on it to see
I didn't have the courage.
Nevertheless, his hair is whiter, as you saw.
Yeah.
A video of him, like doing the show, this thing here that we're doing?
And you looked angry, George.
Possibly.
Yes.
You looked really angry. I wasn't really even sure I wanted to talk to you.
Oh, well, you might have been watching on an angry day. I'm usually not.
Oh, okay. Which day is that?
Thursday.
Okay. All angry Thursday.
I don't remember what was going on at the time, but sometimes things.
I don't either. All I know is that you looked angry.
Well, I was very sad when I woke up this morning, but I'm feeling better talking.
Why are you sad?
Well, the Neil died thing, and it's the holidays. Master of timing as always. I know. I had family and children. During the holidays, you try to have a happy hat, and he died.
By the way, I've got kids older than you and younger than you.
You have kids that are 46?
You don't have a kid that's 46.
No, I'm 46.
No, I've got children that are older than your children.
And
younger than...
How old's your youngest?
Sorry, I forgot how literal you were.
Yeah, well, I speak.
Okay, older than your children and younger than your children.
How old are your children?
Well, Chad is 30 now.
Wow.
And Kyle... Yeah, I know.
So he lived. He lived to see 30, after all, because we had bets.
Can you believe it?
There was a pool. I don't want to tell you how I bet. Yeah.
I know. I always told him he was either going to be a millionaire or go to jail. So he's in jail.
I had Jasmine Kay on yesterday.
He might know some of the same people I know then.
Yeah.
In-laws. They're in-laws. My side of the family, they don't do that kind of stuff. But my wife's side, oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, Chad is actually very successful. He's doing really well.
That's great.
And I'm very proud of him. And Kyle is 26.
Okay.
And then I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Wow. Dude.
Yeah.
Tie a knot in it already. I got snipped. I had the old vasectomy.
I had one, too, and then I had a reversal.
I was going to say, what happened? It didn't take?
Well, no. As a matter of fact, Karen and I are foster parents, or have been foster parents.
I see.
We have fostered 14 children.
Get out, dude.
All of them little girls, because when Chad and Kyle grew up, Karen said, I have had enough testosterone for the rest of my life.
Well, I only know how to raise girls, as you know. I have two daughters and the 4 nieces I helped raise, so I wouldn't know what to do with a man-child.
Well, and they are my little girls, so we ended up adopting Angelina and Abby, and they are no words can describe.
Right.
I just love my little girls.
You don't have to.
They're just awesome. They love
Daddy's little girls, right. My 22-year-old is just told Daddy's little girl. She's much taller than me, because, well, that was easy to accomplish, because Mommy's tall. And, she'll still sit there on my lap and we'll hug just like...
I remember you used to have to carry around that ladder.
Yeah, that's true. I had a springboard. I would take a running jump to be able to kiss my wife on the cheek. People made fun of me, but that's okay. That's the kind of fun I like to...
You're darn right. I always admired you.
Yeah, when I remember that. I remember the first time that my wife came into the studio, you were like, who is that? And I said, that's my wife. And you just went on and on the show. George has to carry a ladder around everywhere. And you and Suds did a 2-person thing, just like the entire segment. And Suds is like, yeah, as a matter of fact, when, or I guess it was your line. Because a lot of people that don't remember that Rick was also very funny, too. They just want to give you a hard time, but you were also very, very funny when you didn't want to be taken seriously. And you said that my wife punishes me by putting the remote on her head. So
right.
I can't get to the...
Well, I didn't make that up. She told me that.
She hides it in her hat, and I can't go get it.
But anyway, yeah, she's and are you still married?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you never know before you go on. You never know. So,
no, you never do know.
Yeah, she's a babe.
We defy the odds. My family, like everybody in my family's at least got one divorce under their belt, and we're the ones that were very unconventional and crazy and zany, and here we are still together after all those years.
That's awesome.
Sure.
Well, Karen and I, if you remember our marriage, Karen and I have been married now for 18 years.
That's great. Yeah, I'm on year 23.
That's awesome.
That's what I understand. Speaking of Karen, because we were making some fun of your podcast because we had to. I mean, what else am I going to do with that, nitwits? We're gonna.
Well, can you?
Yeah.
I have nothing to say about it. I mean, she's been. I have a studio. I do voiceover work.
Right.
And she's been after me to do a podcast.
Okay.
And since I have all the equipment, it would be pretty disingenuous of me not just to help her. So I set everything up, and I am her sidekick.
Right.
And she named it, and it's caught on. I mean, we've done 16 shows, and there's 70,000 downloads.
Wow, that's very good. Well, the specialized, we've been doing a lot of research, and so obviously we're doing online radio too. We've been doing a lot of research, and the focused niche does get a lot of listenership when you find something that no one else is really doing or doing well, and you focus on that creates a spike.
Well, we are, it's a whole different presentation from what they're used to, because guys don't get into knitting, and I don't get into knitting, and so she talks about knitting, and I do everything I can not to talk about knitting, and I do I do bits and different things like that, and they love it,
Sure.
And it's really bizarre. So we do once a week, and it gives us a chance to where we get to talk, because normally with little kids you don't get to sit down and talk to each other.
So do you knit?
Get away.
Oh, I don't know. I saw a picture on the Facebook. You're there with your chopper and everything, because I was a crafting slave when I was a child. It's one of the many ways that my mother scarred me. She had a crafting business, a craft shop at one point, where we made everything that is ugly. That when you walk into an old woman's house and you see all
Did you name it that?
No.
Everything's ugly?
That's what it ought to have been named.
That?
Very popular
Everything's
things.
ugly for $1.
Decoupage, figurines, painted figurines, porcelain figurines, macrame, pottery, everything that's
ugly,
if it's an arts or craft, she made it and sold the supplies and taught people how to do it. But of course, I was chained into the back room, doing macrame planters or owls, or pouring mud into molds, or firing the kiln and things of that nature. So I know how to do. I never. She never made me knit or crochet. I don't know. I don't know why. I guess the macrame was enough. The macrame was.
I'm still bigger than Karen, so I'm not going to be knitting.
Okay, well, my wife's bigger than me, so it's a good thing that my wife doesn't.
I forgot. That's right.
Doesn't want me to knit. Or I'd be doing that show. My wife also, very similar. My wife also wants to have a radio show with her and a friend of hers, but they want to. It's called Cock Talk, where all they do is her and her friend, they talk about cocks, and she doesn't know why I don't want to let her do that show and put it on.
Because then you'll put the needle in your eyeball.
Right. She's serious. I don't have to make anything up. That's what she said. I want to do a show called Cock Talk. Talk all about cocks.
I have nothing to say.
Yeah, no, just cocks. Just other people's cocks. Not mine, although she'll talk about mine to make fun of it. I'm sure that'll come up.
I used to work for Cox Broadcasting, but that's all I have to contribute. We're
going to do a show called Cox Talk, you and me, where we're just going to reminisce about the old days. And speaking of that, obviously, the reason that we're having this reunion type thing is because Neil passed, and giving everybody the opportunity to share. And you are as qualified as anyone, and more than most, to talk about your times with Neil and and how that was. So hit it.
How long is the show?
Where to start? So you got an hour.
You guys.
Okay. Well, I talked to him in the hospital.
By the way, KJ's here. We'll be talking to KJ at some point. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I talked to him in the hospital.
Okay.
Which was, he knew.
Mm-hmm.
He knew, and you could tell. I mean, just to give you this scenario, I still get radio and records, and they came over with a bulletin that Neil was in the hospital and he'd had a heart attack and a stroke, and so I called Norm, and I don't know that I'd ever talked to Norm, but I called his office, and she said, well, he's not in, and I said, okay, this is Rick Riley. I heard that Neil was in the hospital, and I wanted to talk to Norm. She said, well, let me give you his cell phone number. So I did, and he answered, and Norm Kent, and I said, hi, Norm, it's Rick Riley. And like I said, I haven't talked to him, but immediately it was, well, hi, Rick. He said, hold on just a minute. Let me, he said, I'm just leaving the hospital. And so he called in, and I guess he conferenced me. I thought he was going to walk in and hand me his phone, but he conferenced me, and somebody else answered, and Norm said, is Neil coherent? And the person answered, said, yeah, he's doing fine. And he said, well, tell him I have a surprise for him, and give him the phone. So he did, and Neil said hello, and I started to say something, and Norm interrupted and said, Neil, I have a surprise for you. And he said, what is it, Norma? And I said, hi, Neil, it's Rick. And, well, hi, Rick. And he was happy to talk to me, and he was so weak. You know, and I said, Neil, and I found out also that Steve Kane was in there.
Sure.
And Craig Worthing.
Right.
And
they were on the show too. I had them in here.
Okay. And so I said, it's a heck of a place to hold a reunion. And I said, you know, it was just about 20 years ago that I was on the phone with you while you were in the hospital again.
Right.
And you were screaming for me to get you out of there.
That's right. I remember that phone call. I heard that on the air.
And Norm was still on the phone, and he said, I was in New York last week, and he was doing the same thing to me. And so I said, I said something. I said, Neil, I said, I'm really sorry you're there. And I said, and I'm praying for you. And he started to cry, and he said, well, he said it couldn't hurt.
Right.
And I said, when you get out of there, I said, when you get out of there, and he interrupted, he said, we got to go to dinner. And I said, yeah, well, you still have more money than me, so you're buying. And then, and he kind of chuckled, and Norm was still on the line and said, he says, not since he hired me, he doesn't. and so, you know, there was a couple of laughs in there.
That's funny because it's true.
Yeah, a little honesty there.
So there was, and I figured as much, but there was a couple of laughs in there. But I just said, Neil, you know, I said, I'm with you. I said, because at that time he was allegedly going to be having surgery. And I said, you'll get through this, you know. And he started to cry again. And I think then he knew, you know, that, I mean, it was not a real long phone call, but you can tell a lot just by the way, you know, someone talks to you. And I think he knew that he wasn't going to get out of there. And I felt very bad. I was bummed out all day. And I told my wife, you know, I haven't talked to Neil in years. And I told my wife, I said, you would never guess in a million years who I talked to today. And she asked me 4 questions, and she said, Neil Rogers. I said, how did you know? And she just narrowed it down, you know, because Neil and I had a relationship where she asked me 4 questions, and she knew exactly who it was. And I said, he's in the hospital, and it doesn't look good. And then, you know, I just kind of watched the articles. I would Google Neil, and I would see on your website, you know, how he was doing. And when they said hospice, you know, I mean, you knew.
Right.
And then the fact he died on Christmas Eve was just, you know, it was sad. It was sad. And
I was wrapping presents. I was over here in the studio. This is Santa's workshop for me, so I can, you know, get the presents and wrap them without the family seeing. And
where are you?
I was in mid-wrap. I have a studio in Hollywood near my house. You know, it's like a den that's not connected to my house. Palatial penthouse apartment in downtown Hollywood, the entire top floor of an apartment building. But that's where I was. I was wrapping presents when I got the text from Dave, Neil's friend Dave. And you want to talk about derailing the Christmas train. My family does the Cuban Christmas Eve thing, and then we do Gringo Christmas the next day, and I was getting everything ready, and I just it was like something just talk about sucking the wind out of my lungs.
Well, you know, and you think about it, it's interesting. I called. Well, I didn't want to call. I got a call. Okay, let me finish one of those 3 sentences.
Pick one.
I got an email from David. Is he your producer or something?
No.
Said to call in?
No.
Okay. Well, he said to call you.
David is, it could be like David's a very common name, but Neil's one of Neil's best friends is named David.
Okay, this is David Berger.
No, nobody.
Oh, all right.
Obviously, just someone,
all
listener.
Right. He said, "Well, George wants you to call in." So I tuned in, and Randy was on.
Right.
And I thought, I know how Randy gets, so I could probably, read a book.
How does she get? Tell me.
Long-winded. But I did listen, man, and, the syrup that was coming out of my radio was getting everything all
I hadn't
sticky.
talking to her in a long time. I got my tongue out. Don't worry, we'll be doing some syrup here because we had some fun.
So anyway, I have a client. I've got some stuff. As a matter of fact, they're waiting for me to get out, and that's why I put you on hold because I was on the phone with a client, and they're paying me, and you're not. So guess who took precedence?
True.
But anyway, just to go back, the fact was when we first came to Florida, we were working for WAXY. We got hired by RKO Radio, knowing that RKO was going to go out of business. But nevertheless, it was still RKO Radio, and that just had legendary status. And Suds and I were in Connecticut. We were at WCCC, and we had followed Howard Stern. Howard did the morning show there, and he left, and then they hired us. So we walked out of the house up to our knees in snow, and it was right before Christmas, and came down to Fort Lauderdale, and they put us up in the breakers on the 14th floor, and it was 80 degrees, and I was sitting there in my underwear on the balcony, and I looked at Suds. I said, how much are we going to have to pay him to take this job? And so we ended up working there, and we were very successful, and Neil used to listen to us. And, Neil didn't say too much on the positive side, but because there wasn't really, he had that acerbic sense of humor, there wasn't really much to go on once he did. It was just like a statement, and then, you moved on. But when he talked about us like, like he was listening.
Right. Oh, he did.
And that was when he was at INC, and he started to get these humongous numbers. And as soon as we got off the air at 10 o'clock, Suds used to race to the radio and listen to him. And Suds is always being, the Mr. Media, the first one to point me in a direction. But he was a fan of Neil's way before I was. And so Neil was always kind of positive towards us, and whenever he would rip all of the morning shows in town, he wouldn't rip us, and he would say something semi-positive and move on very quickly. It was interesting, and we were new to Florida, and didn't know him that well, but knew that he was gaining this huge audience. And then after we started doing really well, we doubled the numbers at WAXY, and they doubled my salary. And Rick Shaw came to me and said, now that you're doing so well, we want to start playing more music in the morning. And I said, that's the kiss of death. That's why we're doing well. It's not like, they can't hear oldies everywhere they turn.
Sure.
Give them something that they can't hear. And so he and I were always at odds. And when our contract ran out, we just decided not to renew it. And I went over to IOD. And if you remember, they weren't real happy with Kane. And, this is all interesting because I'm putting it out on the airwaves now. This has all been kind of private up till now.
Well, this is the time. We're telling a lot of backstories. During this time.
So they weren't happy with Kane, and I knew that. And Neil didn't like Kane, and Neil and Kane were warring.
Right.
And so I went over and I said, we're available. And, IOD is a great station, and I talked to Boy Gary. And so he says, well, Ranieri's going on vacation. I was out of work at the time because my contract had ran out. Ranieri's on vacation, and why don't you fill in an audition for us? I said, okay. So we're leaving Christmas morning. Not Christmas morning. We're leaving a couple of weeks before Christmas. I'm trying to recall this whole thing. Going up to my wife's house in Pennsylvania for Christmas. I'm pulling out of the driveway, and the phone rings, and it's Boy Gary. And he says, Ranieri's going on vacation on Monday. We'd like you to fill in for him. I said, look, I got my family packed in the car. We're going up to Pennsylvania for Christmas. If this is really important, I'll unpack them and I'll be there. But if it's not, and Gary says, okay, hold on. He comes back. He says, okay, Ranieri's going on vacation in another couple of weeks from that. He says, go have a good time, have a good Christmas. And when you come back, you can fill in there. And it was an audition. So, great. So we go and come back, and I come back, and Suds and I fill in. And Boy Gary comes to us after the first week and said, had I known we were going to like you as much as we did, we wouldn't have extended the offer to Alex Bennett. I said, what? I said, what?
Yeah.
He said, yeah. He said, we've extended an offer to Alex Bennett to do afternoon. I said, Gary, you told me that this was going to be an audition and that the position was open, and no problem, go ahead and wait and come back to fill in for Neri the next time. And now, it's not even open. I'm just here for nothing. He said, there's nothing I can do. So Alex came, and we were still part-time there. So we were filling in for all kinds of people all around the clock. And we were doing nights. Suds and I were doing nights, and Alex was there. And Alex started right in about how he didn't like Florida, and Florida started right in about how they didn't like Alex. And what ensued after that was one of the greatest moments. If anybody was listening and remembers that, it was one of the greatest moments in radio history, because during that 3 months, it was almost 3 months to the day, Alex Bennett self-destructed.
Right.
And what put
he self-destructed. He really did. I mean, talk about not understanding what was going on, because Neil took shots at everybody. You took shots as much as anybody and more than most from Neil. Took a lot of crap, a lot of barbs. There was friction. You and I had some moments, and Neil always teased. I don't know if you listened to the show years afterwards, but you hated Rick Riley. We had one argument, which was resolved within 24 hours, and then for the rest of history, you hate Rick Riley. It's like, no, we had one disagreement, and
you come on here,
and we made peace almost as quickly. But Alex could not.
You come on here.
Do it. Yeah.
And you bash me.
I want that.
And it's very obvious. You two guys are out of work and you want the afternoon shift around here.
This is Radio Gold.
It's the most tasteless thing I've ever heard in my life. And I'm driving to work. I have a show to do, and I'm getting ticked off at you. If I had the ability to do it, I'd take you out here right now and kick your goddamn teeth in.
Well, I think ability is probably the key word.
That is the best comeback in the history of comebacks, by the way. Talk about setting you up. Here's, on a platter, Rick, by the way, because Rick Riley, whatever you want to say about Rick, you had wit. You had a wit, and you were sharp, that was an easy one. That ball was just hanging in the air waiting for you to spike it.
I want that. That's what I'm leading up to. So the problem was Neil took shots at everybody, but Neil rallied against things that people were rallying against.
Right.
And so they jumped on the bandwagon with Neil. He knew what to hit on.
Right.
Alex took shots at the people.
Yeah.
And they didn't like shots being taken at him.
Right.
You can take shots at the senior citizens because everybody's tired of the early birds and the senior citizens and turning right and winding up in the far left lane and going 10 miles an hour. They've had it, But you don't come down there and take a shot at your audience and then expect them to like you. And so that's what Alex did. So now Alex is doing that for a couple of months, and it's really getting testy between him and Neil. And then Neil is on the air, and Neil has a stroke. And Neil doesn't realize that he's had a stroke.
Right.
And I'm listening to him, and I'm doing let me see. I wasn't even on the air right then. We were just doing part-time.
By the way, I wasn't a regular producer in those days. I was still part-time at that time.
Right.
Because I was actually board upping your show on the weekends, your tryout shows and things like that.
There you go. And I don't know who it was, but anyway, he's slurring his words and he doesn't realize it.
Right.
And somebody points out that, he needs to see a doctor. So he goes and he sees a doctor, and it turns out Bell's palsy, I think is what it was.
Right.
And so he tells boy Gary, get Rick and Suds to fill in for me. Well, again, this was another stroke to us because Neil had never had anybody fill in for him. It was always best of Neil tapes.
Right.
He didn't, and we were the first ones, from what I know, that he actually said, get them to do a show and fill in for me. So we did, and he called in from time to time, and slowly, which you don't usually recover from a stroke, he did. Well, within that 2 weeks, now we're on ahead of Alex. And people are starting to really like our show, and they're calling in and saying, you guys need to replace Alex. And that's what precipitated that. So Alex is listening to this, and then on Friday, he comes in and he says that, and I said, well, I think ability is the key word. And then apparently you don't have what Suds said, because it was a great follow-up. Alex used to always talk about San Francisco, and Suds says, well, you got to hand it to the guy. He went through that whole thing and didn't mention San Francisco once.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get off the air. That was at the and as soon as he did that, the phones just went crazy. He's got to go. That guy, all of this stuff.
Right.
So we get off the air, and boy, Gary calls us into the office, and he says, I'll never forget, he goes, you guys. And I said, what?
What? Exactly.
I said, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
The guy comes in and chooses me off while I'm on the air.
Right.
And he says, yeah, he says, but you guys. I said, look. Yeah, exactly. But you guys. I said, look. He says, you need to stop the war. I said, I never had a war. He says, you need to stop the war. I said, okay.
All right.
I'll stop the war. But he's got to stop it, too. And I said, if he wants to keep it on, then I'm joining the war. And he says, just stop the war.
Stop the war.
So he gets on that afternoon, and he starts just ripping us, just ripping me. And I'm listening to this, and I'm going, this is ridiculous. So Monday morning, this is on a Friday afternoon, so Monday morning after Gary tells me to stop the war, he doesn't want me to say anything about it, I came on, and we didn't even say anything. We played the tape from last Friday of him coming in to choose us off and started it up again. And then did the whole 4 hours on it. And he came in, and he flipped out, and he said, I'm not talking. He was doing a call-in show, but he wasn't going to talk.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. And so he just started.
What up, baby? You know what's funny is that I had to board up his Saturday show. He had to do a Saturday show also. Completely different person, very casual, playing the few songs, talking about Rod Stewart ripped off Jorge Bang, no studio audience, no ego, very nice to me. This is Alex Bennett talking about. Then I would hear that pompous with the live studio audience. Hey, everybody take me seriously. I'm the great Alex Bennett.
I honestly didn't listen to him much. I really don't remember too much of the show. He didn't intrigue me. There was nothing there. It wasn't captivating.
I didn't listen to any show. I wasn't working.
Mitch Lewis summed it up the best.
If I had the goddamn teeth, I'd take outside, kick my own damn ass.
There you go.
A series of those. That's what that inspired. So
anyway, so he just does that, and he doesn't even say Broward or anything. He punches the phone and lets the caller realize that they're on the air.
They hear the swoosh.
Yeah, and then say whatever they want, and then he hangs up on them, and then goes to the next. He doesn't say anything. So Gary pulls us into the office and says, I'm going to have to let him go. He says, I'd like to offer you the job. And and he does it to me, doesn't he? Tell Suds.
Right.
And so I said, okay. And I said, should we talk money? And he said, how's such and such? And I said, okay. And I go and tell Suds. I said, Suds, we just got the afternoon gig. And we both high-fived, and that was it. And the next day we started, and that was the last day of Alex Bennett.
Yeah.
And so, and Neil was just extremely supportive. Neil, after a while, got used to us and found something in me that he could go after, because that's what he does, you know. But he was always, without him, I wouldn't have gotten that position. One, because of his ailment, but second, he allowed us to have a forum during that instead of just running best of tapes, and then being very supportive of us. I mean, you know, when I was negotiating with Boy Gary, as a matter of fact, Gary started us off at a salary which was good, but not as good as it should have been. And so I would talk to Gary, and we had an impasse. Well, Neil went in and talked to Gary for me. And he negotiated some, and he said, you know, whatever he said, then Gary was more receptive. And finally, it took me almost a year to sign, because what they offered, I wouldn't sign. And I said, let's wait till the numbers come out. And so the numbers came out, the numbers kept on going up, and I finally went into Mike Disney, and I said, okay, this is what I want. And Disney reeled, and he said, okay. And I said, and I want it from the day you first offered it to me, and I didn't take it because it was too low. And he flipped around and he went to his calculator and looked at it and he said, "Is there anything else I can do for you?" and that's when I got a contract, and we were there for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
First in the
so
then
anyway, it was. But Neil was, he was just always very supportive, and in spite of the fact, one thing that I did that I shouldn't have done, and this really ticked him off, I walked in one day, and he had a new vet. And he tossed me the keys. He said, "Go take a ride." And so Suds and I went out and took a ride. Well, I'm a major, I build cars, I build motorcycles. I'm a major,
gearhead, right. Car
and
snob.
I said to him, not a snob, but, there's cars and there's cars. I mean, Porsches,
that's what it's called. Like, for, some people be happy just to have one, but, you have
Well, I grew up, you have to understand, I grew up around racing. My dad was a racer.
Right.
My dad, when he built a 1934 flathead Chevy that went 135 miles, flathead Ford that went 135 miles an hour in the salt flats, and he rolled it at 135 with no seatbelt.
Well, that's why you're a car snob.
Yeah.
But that's what you get to be.
Anyway, so I came back and I said, man, it goes, but they still got the creaks and rattles.
I remember that. It's like you stepped on his nuts.
Off.
Yeah, I know.
But the fact was that Neil also had a Ferrari.
Right.
And he never drove it because it was a stick. But he knew what a real automobile was.
Yeah.
But he didn't want me saying that about his vet, and I lived with that, I think, for the next 2 years. But anyway, so that was, and I thought, Rick, the guy gives you his car to drive. That wasn't the thing to say.
No.
But it was too late. I already said.
Say thank you. Didn't your parents raise you?
I did. I said thank you. And I was just like, it was like an observation, but they still got the creaks and rattles.
I'm not going to disagree with you. Repoing cars for 2 years kind of turns you into a car snob because you wind up driving everything. So you develop a relative opinion. I love that's great, but guess what? They weren't the nicest cars that I ever drove. As far as
at the time, if you remember, I was driving a 930 turbo Porsche.
That's right. Car snob.
The black one.
Right.
Yeah, well, I've had 4 Porsches. I love Porsches. I don't have them anymore, but nevertheless. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I mean, and if you want to talk about all of the things that do you remember the snooze cruise?
Of course.
Oh yeah,
of course.
And that was something that Disney. Well, I've taken up a lot of your time.
It's all right. We're here for you.
Okay. That was something that Disney, when we found out that WNWS was going out of business, and Neil used to work there, and Neil used to talk about snooze all the time, and they were going to hang up their headphones, and they were just going to be gone.
Right.
I suggested that we throw them a funeral. Well, Neil latched on to that because he had the history.
Right.
And so he thought it was a great idea. Well, Mike Disney said, you guys, no, don't be doing that. First of all, the relationship we had with them, Boy Gary was one of the best program directors I've ever worked for.
That's a controversial statement, but I'm going to agree with that. Steve Ziegler wrote me an email saying that he sucks, but
Steve wasn't on the creative side.
Right.
And the first time we did a payphone challenge, I walked in, Suds was apprehensive because I was going to have somebody stop in an intersection. When the light changed to green, I was going to just have them not move, and then we were going to pay somebody $10 a horn honk or whatever it was just to see how many horns we could build up. And Suds says, I don't know if we ought to be doing that. And I said, why? He said, because of liability. So I said, all right, let's go talk to Gary. So we went in, I told Gary what we wanted to do, and he looked at me and he said, what's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, Suds thinks there's going to be liability issues. And he says, and? And so
he was
Gary
a great enabler, Gary. Although he did get pissed off when you guys shot the boombox with the potato gun, with the spud gun. He really got bent out of shape about that.
Yeah, well,
you guys are out of control. That was the line. You guys are out of control.
Is that what he said?
That's the quote. and I think because obviously we found out where the line was. Property damage.
Yeah. Well, we were damaging our own property. We wanted to damage other people's.
Didn't dig it at all. Right, exactly.
No,
I
forgot about that.
I didn't.
But anyway, so we pretty much had carte blanche of what we wanted to do.
Right.
because Gary, knew the attitude of the show, and it was to create some talk and have some fun. The only time it really backfired on us, and I forget who we put in the trunk, but one of the payphone challenges was we want somebody to get in the trunk and then drive through a full-service gas station. The guy has to come out and give gas, and then while he's giving it, we want somebody to pound on the trunk from the inside saying, let me out.
It's so great.
There were some really, really great ideas. By the way, because we haven't spoken in a long time, but I've got memories of us as well. Because we wound up working together a lot, not just when you first hit the station. I was your first board up, but I was also the fill-in for when Marvin would go out doing the payphone challenges or Idiot on the Corner. That's right. You followed us, so I just stayed there on the board and ran the board.
You were very quiet and very efficient.
Thank you very much. Well, that was me. Now I'm louder and efficient. For what it's worth, but I always really because you guys were like Neil and you guys were the stars and we're the support staff, but we always wanted to contribute to the show. We always wanted to make people laugh, and we were all a family. You weren't like a snob or anything like that. sometimes we had our moments, but I often mostly I remember the moments where I made you laugh. I was always really, really proud of when I made you, Rick Riley, laugh. And one time you were branding people in the studio, and the guy had a piercing. The guy had a piercing, and he pulled it out and showed everybody his piercing, and he had a post through the head of his penis sideways.
Yes.
And I said,
don't tell me.
Remember what I said? And you just laughed through the whole segment. They had to go through a commercial break. You couldn't talk. I'm so proud of that. I said, it looks like Frankenstein wearing a German helmet. And you couldn't come back from that. You were red-faced, laughing, and I was so very proud of that. The whole studio, never mind that the whole studio smelled like a burnt lizard because they were branding each other in there.
Yeah.
The whole studio smelled like burnt lizards, like when you burn a lizard with a magnifying glass. How would I know that?
That made me laugh again, George. That was a great observation.
And the other time, I pull it, I'm coming into work, blah, 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 and I didn't know that there was a controversy going on. I walk into the middle of there's a brouhaha in the studio, in the entire radio station. Apparently something happened, and people were very offended. Andy Kalb, who's probably going to be calling the show. And do you remember this? Because it was Phil Hendry's birthday, and there was a birthday cake, ice cream cake in the freezer, and one of the listeners brought the dead cat, the taxidermied cat, and you guys put in a plastic bag, had the dead cat in the freezer, and you were going to give it to Phil for his birthday.
Next to the cake?
Right next to the ice cream cake. It was in a plastic bag.
Why were we going to give it to him, though?
For his birthday? Because you're funny, because you do things like that, because you're zany.
But there was a reason. We wouldn't just get a dead cat.
There was something came up, and there was some.
And it was funny. I remember it was funny. It was timely.
It was very controversial because a lot of the staff did not think it was funny. A health hazard, blah, blah, blah. A lot of the people didn't think it was funny at all. So basically the station was dividing up into two camps, those who thought it was funny and those who weren't. But since you guys were the ones that did it, you were looking for allies. So I walk into the studio, and it was during a commercial break, and I'm like, what's going on? What's the big hubbub all about? What's everybody all got their knickers in a twist at the station here today for? And you hit the talk back, and you said, everybody's upset because we put a dead cat in the freezer next to Phil Hendry's birthday cake. And I remember I paused. It was like 1001, 1002 while I'm digesting it all. And then I just bust out laughing. I just went, I collapsed onto the floor laughing so hard. And you just said thank you over and over again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because the people that got it were apparently the minority. Those of us who thought, because
we didn't kill the cat.
No, it was delivered that way.
Dead.
And I remember because the cat was frozen in such a position where the arm was sticking up out of the bag, and I think that's what really bothered people. That the cat was like reaching out to you as if to grasp onto life or something.
It was giving a birthday wish.
So many things, so many zany things that we would do all the time. There, you, me, Marvin, Adam.
Just to finish up on the snooze. Well, also to let you know about the guy in the trunk. The reason that backfired.
He's still there.
Yeah, the reason that backfired on us is because we found out later that the gas station attendant called the police. Mm-hmm. And the police got very upset at us because they issued an all-points bulletin.
No.
And they said somebody could have been shot.
No.
I didn't think that far ahead, I just wanted to see if the guy would do anything. Well, I didn't think he'd go in and call the police and they would issue an APB.
Oh, no way.
So we had to we had to issue a public apology to the police. And do you remember the other public apology we had to do?
Which department? Which police agency?
I think it was like Pompano or something.
Okay, no, I don't remember the other public apology you had.
The other one was when I got sued for $5.1 million because we sent a guy over to the new WAXY listening party. And he came back. They were having a party to unveil their format. This is great. Can you extend your show?
Yes.
I've got so many remembrances.
I'm the PD here.
Oh, okay, cool. You are Boy Gary. So anyway, so they had a listening party, and it was when they were changing formats. Mm-hmm. So we got one of our listeners, I guess, said he was invited. So we said, great. Well, we want you to be our informant. So we didn't know this, but he taped their program director, and so we're on the air the next day, and he was telling us about it. Mitch Lewis comes in, and he hands me a card. And he says, play this. We're on the air, okay? Mm-hmm. It wasn't during a break. We're on the air. And he says, play this. And, everybody used to just walk into the studio. It was just a free-for-all. Mm-hmm. And so I said, what is it? And he said, just play it. So I play it, and it's their program director saying that the format is going to be white. Really, really white. So after the break, then people start running around, and then there was a lot of commotion, and after we got off the air, then we were in Boy Gary's office. I said, what am I supposed to do? Mitch walks in, and he hands it to me, and he says, play it. Am I supposed to get in an argument with a guy? He's production director.
Right.
You've done that to me 100 times before. So Gary says, okay. So the next day, it comes out in the paper that they're suing us for $5.1 million. WAXY is suing us for $5 million, and their program director has a personal lawsuit attached to it for $100,000.
That's the point one.
Yeah. And so we had to, they wanted us fired. Yeah. And so there was negotiations, rather than get attorneys involved, there was negotiations where we had to be suspended for a week.
Okay.
And so that would make the lawsuit go away. And so Chuck Meyer filled in for us, and he kept saying that Rick and Suds were in radio jail. And basically it was just a vacation for us.
Right.
But, so they dropped the lawsuit, but that was the only other time that we had to come back. When we came back, we had to read a one-line public apology. And I read it like I was a robot.
Right.
So no feeling at all. So that was it. So anyway, the snooze cruise, it turned into a deal where we had this funeral for NWS. Mm-hmm. Neil had everybody in the world that he used to work with, and he was reminiscing like I am now about all of the stuff that went on, and it was basically our idea, or my idea, to have the funeral, but Neil turned it into something that was just larger than life.
We got an actual tombstone, a nice one, maybe.
Well, yeah, so it became a two-show deal.
Sure.
It was, it was his 4 hours and our 4 hours. Mm-hmm. And by the time we actually executed it, somebody had made a headstone, a huge headstone, that said, snooze in peace, WNWS. And it was on the back of the tailgate of a pickup truck. Mm-hmm. And then, excuse me just a second, I'm getting a knock on my door. Hold on.
Oh, okay, I'll hold on. How long is this going to take, man? Hold on. By the way, KJ is here. We'll come back after the next block, maybe a
Sorry,
block.
I am in my home.
There we go. All right.
Was it full of brush?
That's right, yes.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So continue.
Anyway, boy, fuller brush. How old are you?
100.
You ought to know by now.
Jeez. So anyway, where was I? Oh, so everybody assembled in the parking lot. Jack the cop came. We had a police escort.
That's right.
And it turned out to be, I think the procession was like 1.5 miles or 2 miles long.
It was huge. I mean, everybody met in the parking lot. I think you guys picked people up on the way.
Yeah, and people were lining the streets and applauding.
And they wouldn't let you in the parking lot.
And I forget, the details of it, but all I know is it was huge, and when we came back, Disney said, that was a great idea. And if you remember, I started this conversation by Disney saying, don't do that. So, he had a 180 on it. But, everything there was just, that was one of the best times in radio of any place in the country.
Yes, it was.
And people all over the country were looking at us, and we had huge numbers, and wondering what are these guys doing, and
nowhere else
what is
in the
going on
country
there?
was an AM station, kicking FM stations' asses with little to no promotion. It was a really unique thing that was going on, and I was really happy to be a part of it. Adam Kirshner, who was a part of it, says you also had to do a public apology for the contest where you were going to give away a washer and dryer. You gave away a nut and a bolt, a washer.
I don't think we had to apologize for that.
No, Adam wouldn't be making these things up, and I don't think he smoked as
Adam
much dope
knows.
as he did. He quit.
Adam must what?
Because he quit smoking dope, so he's he probably remembers.
So he has a memory?
Yeah.
Well, that could be. I quit smoking too, but I quit too late, so I still don't have a memory.
Well,
I just lost out.
I'm smoking what you guys aren't, so.
Yeah.
I'm picking up the slack. Don't worry.
You got to go out to California.
That's what I hear, or Vancouver.
Chad, tell you what it was the other day. He told me he went to a place and there were like 18 pot shops on one block.
Can I get an apartment on that block?
It's amazing.
That way I won't have to buy any. I can just smell the air.
You drive by and it's just, I lived out there for the last 6 years.
Right.
And you drive by and it's Hookah Emporium. And
yeah.
It's weird.
Hey, look at them. Maybe my dad will hook me up. I'm just kidding. I have issues with.
Hey, Rick, I got an idea. What's your schedule look like for Monday?
Hi, Boca Brian.
There he is.
I've been sitting here the whole time.
Yeah, Suds is coming in on Monday. Want to call back and do some old Rick and Suds for old time's sake?
Well, how can you do old Rick and Suds? We just are old Rick and Suds.
Do some new Rick and Suds with the old Rick and Suds. The older Rick and Suds. You guys were always
just
pretty
sit back
old.
And listen.
Suds is like 70 now.
I know.
Yeah.
Has he got a job yet?
No.
Okay.
He's eating bologna sandwiches and watching TV.
That's right. He's got the job I want.
He's had the job
Pam
all
works.
of us want all of his life.
Pam works and he, ambles about.
Yeah. I've got, as a matter of fact, I've got a client waiting now. I was supposed to get him, like I said, I do voiceovers. I was supposed to get him a project here at least a half hour ago.
All right.
And Monday I've got work, so this is tough. This is really neat. I'm really enjoying it, but I'm trying to make a living.
Well, whatever. Okay, yeah, us too. Well, it's always a pleasure hearing from you, Rick. Don't be a stranger. This has been fun, very fun.
Okay, in another 10 years, I'll be back.
You got it. All right.
Great.
Okay.
Another show. I'll be tuning in.
George, I want to see another video, and this time smile.
Okay, look at the one from today.
Oh, okay.
I'm flashing you hand signs right now.
Well, you know what Neil always says? He's a cryptic son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's me.
If nothing else, this is a great excuse to get us together,
Absolutely.
and I'm sure Neil would have enjoyed that.
Yes, he would have. Thank you, Rick.
All right, you guys take care.
Take it easy. Rick Riley, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, how about load up a KJ block since KJ's in the house?
You got it.
Boca Brian, 226, all KJ Radio, SoFloRadio.com.
Join the radio revolution. SoFloRadio.com.
Dead cat laying on the table by the cave. It's as stiff as a frozen steak. Take a good look at your birthday surprise. It's staring at you with its glazed over eyes. Dead cat straw. Take it out for a drive. He stands straight up, right out of the bag. The girls don't like it, but we don't care. He's a real gone cat with his tail frozen in the air. Wake up, cat!
Don't worry about it.
It's no longer chasing mice around.
What are you talking about?
Looks like he lost his very last bite. Used up all 9 of his life.
Exactly.
Eating our food, having fun with the guys. Using that cat for a napkin when we wipe. But when it starts to smell and attracts those flies, we'll put it back in the bag and throw it back outside.
That would be wild, yeah. Let's do it.
Drive home with us today. Call in and have your say. Have some fun with Rick and Suds instead of playing with your putz. Time for Suds and Rick Riley
Hi, this is G. Gordon Liddy, and they don't come any worse than Neil Rogers.
There he was, just a-walking on the sea, singing, do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. He's the man from the land of Galilee, singing, do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. He's good, divine, he's good, divine, changes water into wine. The next thing I knew, we had a lame man on his feet singing, do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. The blind are gonna see and the dumb are gonna speak singing, do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. He walked on through my door, walked on through my door. Then he cured a leper sores. Whoa, some say he's the Son of God. Yes, they do, but there's other people think it's so odd. Now he's the reason that we have an Easter day singing, do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. And he's the reason that all the Christians pray singing, do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. They praise him, kneel down, praise him and kneel down, the man who wore a thorny crown. Do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. Do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. Do-a-diddy-diddy-dum, he's a Jew. Do-a-diddy-diddy-dum, he's a Jew. Do-a-diddy-diddy-dum, he's a Jew. Do-a-diddy-diddy, he's a Jew.
This is the Neil Rogers Show. This is your brain. Any questions?
Way down in Jamaica in the Caribbean, they got the best herb that you ever seen. Ask anybody in that neighborhood, they tell you this the country where the ganja be good. Rastaman has some he want to sell, and from a mile away you can detect the smell of smoke. Smoke, ganja, smoke, smoke. He light up the spliff and toke. Smoke, ganja, smoke, smoke. Smoke, ganja, smoke, smoke. The ganja be good. You can carry lots of herb in the gunny sack. Smoke it every day until your lungs turn black. With all the money that we have made, Jamaica doesn't need any foreign aid. American tourists come here and say, got nothing like this in the USA. They smoke, smoke, ganja, smoke, smoke. They light up the spliff and toke. They begin to cough and choke. Smoke, ganja, smoke, smoke. The ganja be good. Mama tell her son you are a Rasta man. You like to smoke the giant spliff whenever you can. Many people coming here from miles around to buy the herb from you by the ounce and the pound. Rastaman say to her, Mama, you're right. The ganja be good tonight. And then they smoke. Smoke, ganja, smoke, smoke. They light up the spliff and toke. Smoke, ganja, smoke, smoke. Smoke, ganja, smoke, smoke. The ganja be good. Yeah, man.
Thanks, honey.
Silent fart, deadly fart. It can tear your nose apart. You
can't hear it, but you can tell. Someone did it by that awful smell. What the hell did you eat? It smells just like rotten meat. Silent fart, deadly fart. I cut one at Kmart. I watched a woman's head swivel around. She was wearing a terrible frown. I walked right out of that place with a big smile on my face. Silent fart, deadly fart. Doing it is quite an art. Let one go, but don't look back at the victims of your gas attack. If you're in church when you do, you'll have to stay in your pew. In nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti, I want to know who cut the cheese.
I want to know why you had to send an authorized agent to deliver that first cassette to us over here, KJ. KJ was just telling the story. I was like, that's a good story. That's a good story for the air. And he's like, so it is. KJ, ladies and gentlemen, who you just heard the KJ block from.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Boca.
People.
Hey, KJ.
Hey, buddy. I talked to you yesterday. I love you.
Finally got acknowledged today.
Okay.
There he is. Well, it's because nobody can see you.
Well, that's why I'm here, is to acknowledge things.
Okay, thanks.
The silent fart bit is the first KJ bit that we ever played from KJ's Kooky Christmas. Somebody, they called me to the lobby, which I always hated. Somebody's here, they got something for you. This is a WIOD. Somebody's here, they got something for you. And I'm like, that's like spinning the wheel of terror. Rolling dice when somebody at the lobby has something for you, because it could be
something great.
It could be a fruit basket. It could be a new car. It could be a hand grenade. A hand grenade, a gold brick, a burning bag of dog dew.
Right.
Or, in most cases, it's just somebody with a complaint, which is not my job to take. You know whose job it is inside a radio station to listen to your complaints? Right, nobody. In any radio station anywhere. You got a problem, turn around and dig a hole, stick your head in it, and then complain to Satan or Hades or some. Radio stations don't give a rat's ass what you think, especially if it's negative. So I'm like, okay, let me trudge out there. It's my job as my producer. And here's Beer Breath Terry, who... KJ was telling me the backstory, and listen, because you encounter a lot of people all day at the radio station. People come and go, and I'm not going to remember everyone's name, so you do. You title them, you tag them something with which to remember them by. So here's a guy with thinning hair. His hair was way too long for as thin as it was. It's kind of a 2-day growth like I'm sporting right now today. And nothing wrong with being beer breathed. I'm beer breathed on any given day. Just flip a coin, and it's a 50-50 chance of whether there'll be beer on my breath. Just so happened in the middle of the day, in the middle of the afternoon, that here's this guy, and he's giving me a cassette, which is another thing that I could not stand. People showing up with cassettes, because I've already told the story about what happens to cassettes when you send them to a radio station, and
they go in the trash.
They go in the trash. But here's this guy, and he's touting you. Big fan, obviously a friend of yours, but a big fan of your work. Were you paying him? Is he a partner?
No. The thing of it is I'm terrible at self-promotion. Okay. And I never told him to do anything with this tape other than listen to it and have it or whatever. And at the time, I make this stuff for my own amusement and the amusement of my friends.
Okay.
So he called me later to say, hey, I brought it, I went over to WIOD and I gave him the tape. And the first thing I said was, why'd you do that? They're not going to play that cassette on the air because it's going to be, it's going to sound like crap.
Right.
So what'd you do that for? And then
a lot of the songs had language that there's no
yes, very offensive. It was
right, and not just the words that we would have had to bleep, but the subject matter.
Exactly.
Very funny songs to a certain extent, but it's like I can't use this, and I remember because I do, unlike what other people do or what other people say, I listen to every goddamn thing anyone ever gave me to listen to. I actually did.
Right, because there might be a gem.
Exactly. It's panning for gold. Finding comedy bits is panning for gold. When the CDs would come in from the National Comedy Services, we would play 1 out of 20, 1 out of 30 bits actually made the cut.
Right, but you got to listen to the other 29.
That one gem, right. And I had to listen to the other 29, and it's like getting punched in the stomach. Right. Oh, it's like eating ground glass. The attempt to be funny, people attempting to be funny and failing is one of the most difficult things to have to endure. Just groan, you just doubled over, it makes your nuts hurt. So I'm listening, so I put the cassette in my briefcase and I put it in the car, and I'm just, as a producer, you just never stop working. I'm just listening on the way home. It's always doing something. No, so I'm listening to it, and I'm like, okay, this is good. I see what this is all about, but we can't play this. And then the next song comes on, we can't play this, and I'm like, geez, good guy, good, voice and the music and well-written stuff, good production value. The cassette was clean. We got good equipment.
Right, we'll clean it up, but I can't play this.
I can't play this. I don't know what track number Silent Fart was. I think it was like the last.
No, it was it's like there was an opening song and then Silent Fart. So it was like the second song.
But that was that. I think Silent Fart is clean, and I listened to it again, and I said, yeah, farts are big on the Neil Rogers Show. He just goes, tss, there's no language in there. I think this one's good. And by the way, it's good. It's cute. It's funny.
That was one of the few bits we could play at the last 2 years.
Right, it's got a good beat. You can dance to it. I carted it up. I gave it to Neil. I said, "Hey, this beer-smelling guy dropped this cassette off. I listened to the whole thing. Here's the one thing that I think we can play, and I think it's good enough to play." And it was the holidays. That's why I think he
right. It was right around Christmas time.
Sure, and of course Neil liked it, and you were very delighted that Neil liked it. I don't know if you heard it. When did you hear that he was playing your shit then? Since you didn't even know that beer-smelling Terry was coming to visit.
It had to be weeks later that somebody told me, I don't know who or what, that, hey, I heard that Silent Fart on the air, and I go, really?
Yeah.
And
how did you hear it if it was silent? Oh!
Yeah, and also, Christmas is such a sacred cow to people. You can't mock Christmas.
Are you kidding me?
Well,
everybody has.
No, everybody has. Yeah. But I was mocking it, as you know.
Yeah, Jesus mocks Christmas. Now, Jesus has a kooky Christmas
but as
album.
You know, a lot of those songs on there are very, very...
take
it to the next...
Those people that exist to have problems, they can go have a problem over there.
Well, then it was I'm Dreaming of a White Neighbor.
Right.
Okay, remember that got...
Let's get PC now.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've played that at places, and that was the end of that gig.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
That ain't funny.
Exactly, that's not funny. To other people, it's almost like, well, half the room is laughing, and the other half is scowling.
Right.
And it's the thing, the half that are laughing, you're not going to keep the job because of them. It's the half that are scowling that you're done, you're out of here.
It just takes one, as we know from radio.
That's right.
So was that the second bit that you sent in?
I don't know how that came about either.
You had
listen, there's a backstory to the backstory. Okay?
I got those cassettes around in a box or something.
There's a backstory to the backstory. Is that a long time ago, 1988, 1987, I had this cassette of a song called Bye Bye Bundy. Okay, which was a parody of Bye Bye Blackbird, about they're going to fry Ted Bundy.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody at this sleazy little bar bought my cassette, with a bunch of other dumb parodies, and said, I'm going to send this to Neil Rogers. And I said, he'll never play that, blah, 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 blah. The next thing I know, people are calling me and say, he's playing Bye Bye Bundy. I go, well, is he saying my name? And say, does he? Well, the guy just sent it in, And Neil at that time, he's not in the habit of, he's not going to promote me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Neil Rogers Show. Somebody sent me this cassette, I'm just going to play it. So, in a way, I had kind of a little pet peeve there. Because I didn't know Neil.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what the deal was, what's going on. Let's jump ahead. Years later, Terry is sending Silent Fart, and for all I know, it's getting played. I never would listen to AM radio to check if my song's being played at Christmas time or whatever. My lovely wife that I met on my birthday, my 40th birthday, life begins at 40. After we started dating, the OJ thing,
like 70.
a week after, no, I'm in my late 40s. I'm 56. Okay. Anyway,
I like that math.
A week after I met my birthday, on June 12, 1994, O.J. Simpson killed his ex-wife and Ron Goldman.
Yes, he did.
That started a whole bunch of Beatles parodies about. Right. They were like Beatle glove songs. Instead of Beatle love songs, we called them Beatle glove songs because they're all about the glove. Okay.
Isotoners.
Yes. So I had done this. I had recorded this song using that OJ cassette where I killed Nicole. I did a little skillful editing there and came up with somebody's put it on this song called "You Didn't Hide That Glove, OJ." Okay. And my lovely wife said to me, "Send that in to Neil. You really ought to send it in." And I took her advice. Usually, like I said, I'm very bad at self-promotion. So I said, well, I'm going to forget about the Bye Bye Bundy thing. I'm going to forget about the silent fart thing. I'll just send it in, and we'll see what happens. I played a wedding about 3 or 4 days later where I got very deathly ill because I ate some salmon that they had gave me like 3 days later. Not a good idea. Well, it's the idea of don't eat salmon 3 days after they give it to you. Eat it. Yeah, I see how stupid I am. I'm stupid and naive.
I knew you were stupid.
So,
I didn't know how stupid.
Well, now you know.
Monumentally.
Now you know. So I'm over at Jeannie's place on the couch. I'm getting over food poisoning, and she left the radio on while she went out to work, and on comes, "Hey, you didn't hide that glove, OJ."
Right.
And then it all kind of like, wow, Hey, this could be something big. This could be something.
I don't have that for some reason. I bet you Brian does, though.
Well,
it's somewhere. I have it somewhere.
I got a lot of KJ stuff in here, just not that.
Well, I can hunt it up for you if you want anyway.
Yeah, you got it on your computer, right?
Right. That was when it was like, okay, I'll send him another thing. I send you another. It was found a bloody glove, and then he was playing that one all the time. And I sent you another one, and then I got a call from you. Because, like I said, I wasn't going to go down there and, try to, get in the radio business.
Right.
That I'm that smart. I might be stupid, but I'm not that stupid to try to get in the radio business.
This is true. You have to be really stupid to try to get in the radio business.
See? And I'm not that stupid to get, caught in it. And you called me out of the blue. I remember this very well. Hi, I'm Jorge Rodriguez, producer of the Neil Rogers Show.
That's me. I was going to change my name to that.
And you did. And you said, hey, we like these bits that you've been sending us, and you know what? We pay. And that was all
It's my fault. No, nobody believed me. I took such shit from management, but I campaigned for a budget to pay people for bits.
Right.
If they were good. And that of course got everybody else really jealous because every schmendrick in the town would be sending us comedy bits. Oh, when are you going to start paying me? And it was my job to tell them that they weren't good enough to get paid. What do you mean?
What's a real?
Oh, what do you mean?
That's a wonderful job.
We have standards over here, and you're not up to them, asshole.
Right.
I got offended that they got offended. It's like, what? You think just anybody that wants to do a comedy bit can come up here and drop a comedy bit off, and here's $50? Started out at $25, though.
Right. Now, also, to be honest, not every bit I ever sent in passed the cut.
Nobody's did.
And neither did Brian.
Mine
did.
Or Guitar Man or anybody.
I think my favorite submission you got was the guy who spent a lot of money on a demo disc that came in a book. It was beautiful. I mean, the graphics.
Right. And it got shot down.
Oh. Sure. He obviously did. You went to Kinko's.
to print it off. Oh, that's funny. Well, see,
because understand, I was afraid. I was more afraid of Neil than any of you guys. If I carded something up and gave it to Neil, because it got to the point where he trusted me. If I gave him a cart and said this was funny, he would just fire it off. He didn't bother auditioning because that took time. That was work.
Right.
Auditioning material is work.
Right.
In case people don't know.
As his producer,
he would fire it off on the show, and if a sour bit got on the show, he'd give me this look like, "What's wrong with you?" He would do the Don Corleone. "What's wrong with you? I think your brains are going soft."
Right. Exactly.
And that only ever happened once. And I was just paranoid as hell of handing over an unfunny bit to him, so I was, very critical.
Well, I still remember, coming in the studio before the show would start, and I'd have a bit, I'd drop it off. And the one thing I remember is he was up in Toronto at the time, and I gave him Teenagers with Clubs.
Yeah.
About the two kids that killed the homeless guy.
Right.
And it got to the chorus. Why was I beaten by teenagers with clubs? And I hear Neil laughing over the speakers. And I just thought, oh, you like that one.
Yeah.
And it was always a great thrill because I'd drop off a bit, and then I'd be driving home, and the show would start, and he'd start off the show with my bit.
Mm.
And that was always a big thrill for me.
Sure.
Now,
you
know, I don't have an outlet for that stuff anymore. I'm working on original music. It was Christmas Eve.
Yeah, because, you know, we don't do a radio show here anymore.
I know. Well,
funny radio show where we play funny bits.
You got Boca to do your stuff. Okay?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's a good excuse. That's all right, you know, on
Listen, I got my new album. I got my kid. I got my you know, things to do.
I know, right.
But I'm in between nursing homes on Christmas Eve. This is when I heard about Neil.
You're going to be in one permanently soon.
Yeah.
Mr. 58. You'll be performing 56. At your own. You'll be at your own nursing home.
Late 40s. Anyway, I heard a South Florida radio legend has passed away, and I went, oh shit, that's got to be Neil, you know.
Yeah.
And then I saw the obituary on the front page of the Sun Sentinel. And then it dawned on me, hey, this guy was pretty big.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking of obituaries, thanks for the obit, Ellie Brecker. Spelled my name wrong, got the website wrong, got everything wrong. But hey, thanks a lot.
Oh, is this in the Sun Sentinel?
The Miami Herald. Jicka got everything right. Jicka gave me 3 little paragraphs of what I had to say, plugged the station over here. Ellie got everything wrong. Thanks, Ellie.
You know what?
Glad I spent all that time with you. This is why I hate talking to newspaper people, man. They'll take an hour of your time and then just basically make up whatever it is.
Write whatever they want.
Write whatever they want.
They always get it wrong. They always get it wrong.
Thanks, Ellie. You're my buddy. I love you, Ellie.
They always get it wrong, newspaper guys. And then, like you said, if they don't have it right, they'll make up something.
So then what happened?
What? Christmas Eve or with the...
No, I didn't know if I interrupted one of your stories over here.
Well, I'm just kind of rambling.
You're here to tell Neil stories. Yeah, you're there.
Yeah, I want to tell Neil stories.
Rambling man.
I never really got to know him, and I think he never really got to know me, and I guess that was the way that both of us wanted it. You know, I would exchange pleasantries with him occasionally.
I'm sure that you two, just like he and I, didn't like to do the same kinds of things on our off time as each other.
Right.
And probably you too.
The only time that I interacted with...
Do you like to go to casinos or pick up guys? You know,
no, exactly.
See, that's just it. We totally wind up at different places.
You had dinner with him.
I think we had like in almost 20 years we've had 3 non-work related dinners together.
Okay, yeah. I asked Boca about this yesterday. He had dinner with Neil.
Neil likes us better than you.
Well, I didn't have time to socialize.
You're old and ugly.
That reminds me. I went to WIOD with one of my bits, and it's like a commercial's on or whatever. And I told you to tell Neil, I'm standing next to you, tell Neil I love him. Okay? And you hit the talkback button and said, KJ says he loves you. And Neil gave me a look like, not my type. Okay.
No kidding.
Exactly. You know,
can I break in here for a second? I want to try a little experiment here.
Okay, we're all about experiments.
See if this works. I found this.
All right.
I don't know if you can hear it.
Not yet. Nothing.
You can't hear it, huh?
Nothing, no.
Oh, hold on.
All right.
It's deafening. I can't hear it.
Oh, now we hear things.
Robert Dole loses.
You remember that?
I remember that well.
I got a lot of the KJ bits over here. I got Right Wing Man. And of course, Rudy Giuliani.
Rudy.
Necktie Party. What's that about?
That's about Saddam Hussein getting hung.
KJ liked to pick the weirdest things, the subject matter over here. Well, and of course, he did a lot of good religious bits, which I always appreciate.
Well, it was always out of the news. That's I Pray to Jesus.
Yes, it is. You're telling me. I'm looking at it. Maybe you're.
My wife wrote those.
You're front announcing it for the audience. Really? So she does other things besides support you?
She doesn't support me.
She doesn't?
No.
No, that's not how she tells it.
Well,
as a matter of fact,
I'm doing like a Tommy Smothers here.
The wheels were going behind the eyes, huh?
At the station.
This is about me.
That's about you, yes.
Producing the Neil Rogers Show.
That's what I used to do.
With some frustration.
Yeah, and then they fired me.
I think he borrowed Jim Schuyler's keyboard.
Change the rules.
This is sweet.
Hey, you heard from Lee Feldman lately?
No, not lately. He's doing well.
Lee, your pal. Your pals.
My friend Lee.
You know how stupid I am? You know, I want to tell you
how stupid are you?
I'm so stupid that I recorded a promo for Lee's show based on Come Together.
All right.
It was going to be one thing I can tell you is it's got to be Flea.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I was going to take it over there, and then when all the, shit hit the fan,
I
said, I ain't helping that guy with nothing. F you, QAM.
I don't, you know my policy, people that know me.
Or you can say fuck you.
Yeah, you can say fuck on this.
Go right ahead.
But I'm not going to join in.
I know that Neil, I know he didn't believe in an afterlife or whatever, but his spirit right now, he would want to say, hey, everybody, kiss my fat dead ass, all right? That's what he would say.
Probably.
That's probably what he would say.
Well, he's probably going to
get a life, is what he said.
You get a life and kiss my fat dead ass.
He's probably going to be cremated, so that we can't, bury him, face down, so that people can come by and kiss his ass.
Oh, what I wanted to ask about. Well, we got a few minutes here to the end of the show. Where and when and what is the memorial service?
By the way, because I talk about it on the show, for the people that listen to the show, thank you for listening to the show, and they know what's going on.
Okay, then
all right. The people that don't listen to the show can die, can just curl up into a ball and die. All right. Because I'm telling everybody what I know on the show, and I'm still getting emails and Facebook messages from people. What about the memorial service? What about the memorial service? The show is free. You can listen to the show and still not do anything for us over here on SoFloRadio. You can listen to the show, take from the show, and never patronize any one of our sponsors. Neil would go on about this all the time. And as the producer, years, and I'm tired of it, years of people calling on the phone, asking me for information that they would already have if they were a listener. If you are not a listener, why the hell should I help you if you're not a listener? Why should I help anybody if they're not, at the very least, a listener? Because your wife is hot. I'll answer your question off the air.
I was going to say that.
Because your wife has giant cans and a beautiful face, I will answer. And she's a sweet, wonderful person to boot. I will answer your questions, and that is there will probably be a memorial service sometime next week. The day and the date and the time has not been set, neither has the location. Norm is seeing to it. Norm and the other people in Neil's camp are seeing to it. And when something will happen, there will be something. There will be a thing. And when we find out when and where and what time, then I will tell everyone about it. I'll post it on Facebook, etc., and so forth. And I've been telling people that on the show. And then when people write me emails, hey, what have you heard about it? What have you heard? I discuss at great length what I have heard.
Okay.
On the show over there.
To be announced.
TBA is the answer to that question.
Okay.
And I'm going to be really frustrated for people that think that I exist. Because it's not you, it's everybody else.
Oh, okay.
All these people that think that I exist for their convenience. People who have never done anything for me, will never do anything for me. If I held a gun to their head, they wouldn't do anything for me, and they don't even bother listening. And now we have people that do listen, and they email their friends, and they spam our website out to their friends, and they post little messages on Facebook saying, hey, listen to George. They don't have to patronize a sponsor. They don't have to take a dime out of their pocket. They don't have to take a minute of their time. They can just go click, click. You understand? Click to listen, right-click, send link to a friend. They can take, in less than 60 seconds, they can do something for us, all of us over here. Boca Brian has been staying up late into the night, 4 in the morning, going through DATs. Talk about a joint effort over here. DATs that I spent hours upon hours upon hours accumulating, recording, and backing up. I spent hours making those DATs, and now Boca Brian is spending hours re-listening to those DATs and rolling off all of the stuff that I went, and slaved over a hot production room board to create. Both of us over here, and so that people can relive all these old classic moments and these classic bits and these little clips and snippets over here, and for them.
We might have something Friday too.
We might. What might we have?
It's New Year's Eve. Friday, right?
Right. Friday's New Year's Eve.
I might put something up there again.
What, another bunch of things? Another bit show on Friday?
I unearthed another show from WINZ.
Oh, well, the Friday show last week was very well received. Record-breaking numbers on that, as a matter of fact. A very well-received show, and so why not do it again?
I'll do my best.
I was going to do a Friday show. Obviously, we still got a lot of people that we never got on the show that haven't called me back, but
we have guests.
We're getting guests. I'm talking about, and Yeah, well, we have the Lee Boys on Friday. Let's do a live show on Friday. We'll just have it very bit intensive. How's that, Boca Brian?
Okay.
Because I got some people that I definitely want to get on, and the Lee Boys, who are very huge, we've just been putting them off, and they've got an event coming up on Friday that...
All right, as long as it's not the Flea Boys.
No, it's not. And for what it's worth, all these people, because people off the air people, and on the air too, people want me to say something about that. If
click the donate button.
Click the donate button.
I'll say it.
As far as that goes, well, you say whatever you want, but the people that know me know that I don't do bitterness or resentment or revenge. I allow the karma gods to sort things out. I am as good as I can be to everyone always, no matter what they do. Period, that's it. My life is very simple, and I avoid confusion about how to behave with that policy. And I've tried the ass hat. It doesn't fit, and it doesn't look good on my head. So I'm not very good.
I still have the scar from where he shook my hand.
At being an asshole. So, you know, everybody else can say whatever they want. I'm on my way to a party. See, I get my revenge by continuing to have a good time.
That's right.
Whatever anyone does to me, says about me, to my face, behind my back, or to another person, whatever. That's between you and your karma committee. I'm on my way to a party. And I'm not going to have a problem with you unless you're standing in between me and the punch bowl. So that's all I have to say about that and any of the people over there. And I know when I was on with Sid, by the way, a lot of kudos and compliments about when I was on with Sid. Sid asked me some questions and I answered them, and I answered them honestly. And Neil hated the management of that radio station like he hated nothing, no one or no thing else, and that's a fact. And he was very clear about that on the air and off the air. People, how do you really feel, Neil? That's how he really felt. There are people that he worked for that he took shots. He was always at odds with management, but he did not hate Bob Green. He did not hate Mike Disney. He did not hate Gary Bruce. He did not hate Steve Nickel. However, when it comes to WQA, he did not hate Howard David. But when it comes to WQAM, that's another story. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Boca Brian. Thank you, Rick Riley. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, KJ.
Is the South Florida Radio
Back on
Network.
Friday.
Butler.
Hey, back at you.